Hey, what's up, guys? We're back here with 4 cauliflower ears. Today is still 4. Sasha doesn't have any, but Sasha is filling in for Ian. Ian is on a short vacay, and this is Mike. Mike is our good friend over here from the gym. We do a lot of nothing together. Yeah. Just like this thing is about nothing. So is the rest of it. Sasha does a lot of everything here, but we don't. But anyway, Mike, what have you been up to, man? How is life? How is...
everything's pretty fucking good right now, coming off of a couple of nagging injuries that, when you get to be my age, take longer and longer to heal. I popped a couple of both of my adductors about 6 months ago, so I'm not able to play any type of guard from any position. So it's a lot of me just laying there these days.
Yeah, but
and how's that different from before, though?
Well, now it's my choice. Now it's my choice, not because I'm shitty jiu-jitsu. My bad. Yeah.
I remember Mike.
Yeah. Now it's 100% by choice. But we'll see.
So what can you do and what can't you do with that kind of injury? Like, can you do, like, for example, because I
can't bring my knees together at all.
Also, but you can play close guard then. That should be quite comfortable.
Close guard?
Well, I'm just saying.
I've never played close guard a day in my life, sir. I'm an American. I don't have people between my legs like that, okay? All right, I don't know how you guys do it in Europe like that. But me, no.
We feel comfortable. That's where we thrive.
No, I do not play a lot of close guard. When you're my height, close guard's not very conducive to... I'm not throwing up a lot of triangles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't. I mean, we're about the same height. I play close guard. It's pretty good. But I mean,
maybe I just suck at close guard.
No. My question though was not hypothetically. Yeah. What is your injury allowing you to do? Can you do that? Because
I can't do it. I can't even bridge right now. I can't. I can barely shrimp. I can't bridge. So what I've been doing is luckily I can't bring my knees together, and driving off my heels. I mean, when I say I can't, it's just painful, so I try not to. But I can open up my legs. So I've been playing a lot of butterfly. A lot of butterfly.
How does the sweep feel from there?
The butterfly sweep has always been like one of my highest percentage sweeps.
But how does it feel injury-wise?
Fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, fine.
I really don't know what the feeling would be. I have no idea.
So, and it's funny. I actually popped both of my adductors in consecutive weeks doing the same exact thing, and it was submitting other people.
You're not meant to do it, man.
No.
I've never been
both, yeah, I know.
It's a sign. Back to back.
Yeah, the one time I actually submitted a guy, I fucking popped my shit. No, it was a Monday night class, the hard rolling class that we do here. I had to do it in Ashi, and I was finishing a belly down straight ankle lock, and like literally as he's tapping, I feel my groin pop, and I'm like, oh, tight, that's cool. That was my right one. And then a week later, I did the same exact thing from the same exact position on my left one. And then 3 months later, I popped my LCL. So when you get to be 37 and bad genetics, this is what you get to look forward to. I didn't know
you popped the LCL too.
But LCL was chilled. That shit healed in like 5 weeks.
Yeah,
but I healed that, or I popped that shit at the coop in Honey Hole. A guy tried stacking me. I put him back on the mat, but because
that's what happened to. That's exactly how Gordon Ryan did it against Yuri, right?
See, Gordon Ryan and me.
God, yeah, I was gonna say, Mike.
Dude.
I was gonna say it only makes sense that it happened.
I'm glad that he's seeing. When you get to be this high level of jiu-jitsu, it's good to know that other people are still facing the same challenges you are. So I'll give him a call and see if we can figure out.
I'm sure he'll give you he'll give you some tips on how to deal with it.
I'll give him some tips, okay?
No, the LCL, I mean, not the jiu-jitsu. Of course, you're not gonna take advice from that guy.
Are you going to rehab still, or are you doing PT?
I was doing PT for like 6 months. I tried that BPC 157. I think that is a total fucking scam. I'm a sample size of 1, and I'm not a doctor, so don't take my medical advice. But I felt
Love you, man.
I felt nothing. I've been doing PT.
What is it though? What is it, that thing that you mentioned?
The
BPC.
BPC.
Don't even ask. It's some bullshit that.
Turning into Horus now?
Dude, honestly, I was that desperate. I was that desperate. I saw him just pinning shit online. No, I have one of my doctors recommended it, and gave me a prescription. It was like subcutaneous, 5 days a week, and I felt nothing. For absolutely nothing. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe it is something. Maybe it is nothing. Who knows? But yeah, dude, I mean, I don't know. I know you're always rehabbing injuries. I think it's just like you get to be this age where even like a young white belt who is strong can spaz out and just do the fucking dumbest shit to you. Dude.
Oh, for sure, man. I've felt things that like from that kind of. I mean, I wasn't even any experience or I mean, I think I was like late white or early blue belt, and I don't know if I told that story before. This guy, in the previous gym, not this location, but the previous one.
Oh, maybe.
2018 maybe it was. So yeah, probably around blue belt. This guy comes in, big Russian guy, and immediately we're all thinking it was a gi class. And we're looking at him, and immediately we're thinking, oh, this guy's gonna fucking kill us. That was a little bit before. No, that was around the time. Yeah, it was around the time Habib was starting to smash people, but it wasn't like he had that you know that kind of signature thing. But this guy was like Russian, not Dagestani or anything like this, and we were like, all right, I mean, big guy, you know, but a white belt too. So, but you can't trust that because you don't know what kind of experience he has in. No, what kind of experience he has
like
in wrestling or sambo or something.
Yeah.
If you don't know,
This
white belt is in jiu-jitsu, but who the fuck knows what he is? So anyway, the guy turns out the guy had some belt in karate though, or taekwondo or something.
So he had some.
So we were like, okay, well, the guy does some kind of training, but it's not, you know, ground training. He's like, yeah, I want to learn some ground training. I'm like, okay. So I don't know what we were doing, but somehow I put him in my close guard, and this guy, I'm thankful he didn't slam me, but I think we had to tell him not to slam me because he was big enough to pick me up and slam me. But he did something else. He got up in my close guard, but he was like, I was pulling his posture down, and he figures, hey, if I can't, because I was kind of hanging myself on him, if I can't get up and slam him, I'm gonna roll over. So he literally does a forward roll over inside my close guard, but he did it over his head, not like a shoulder roll or something, where he would have landed in bottom mount, most likely, right? Yeah. He did it over his head. You know that athletic thing that wrestlers do when they run, and then they whoom, they go over there.
He did that to you?
He did that to me without the running. And I was like, I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? I opened my legs like, I'm from Europe, right?
Yeah. It's natural.
I opened my legs in the last possible moment, and I heard my neck click. It wasn't bad, but that's how bad it was. Like, because he was very explosive and stuff.
Yeah.
So to your point, you don't know who. And this, I was telling Gustavo after that because he saw it, and it's like we were both like, "What the fuck was that?" You know, and we were talking about it. You know, you could be very experienced and try to do something in a street fight or something like that, for example. But the problem is when we train, we kind of know what to expect to a certain degree, you know. But when someone walks in from the street,
right,
or they are or you are in the street,
you are in the street.
You don't know what to expect.
No, 100%. Like I got into martial arts through Western boxing, right, and then was doing Muay Thai for fucking ever.
Yeah, how long did you do Muay Thai for?
I've been doing Muay Thai for fucking ever. I've been doing it for like 10, 15 years. But I started boxing in high school, which was over 20 fucking years ago. But it's the same shit. Like, when I was sparring more frequently, I will always do better against a trained opponent. Because you're used to dealing with a trained opponent. You can see their reaction.
They control the skill.
And you know what to anticipate. And then when you fucking get some guy off the street that doesn't know jack shit, it's hard to get reads on. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Like, if me and you roll, you'll see shit coming a mile away. I'll see shit coming a mile away. But then when me and you roll, I'll be like, what the hell is this special shit?
No offense.
Excuse me, man. I mean,
No
he's not
offense
wrong,
whatsoever to you or any other.
We're both looking at each other like...
No, but I've been actually teaching the beginners class here.
That's right.
Which one? Monday?
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
The one Owen used to teach?
So Owen's leaving. He's going back to Owen's one of our brown belts. He's going back to DC for work out there. Oh. So I've been starting to teach it, me and Alex, and we're trying that ecological approach. We're trying it.
What's the ecological approach again?
That's a fucking question.
Yeah,
you put some air
You
go for the
just
best.
have people play games and say that you're teaching them jiu-jitsu, and you don't do much. No, so
It's how kids should be taught in the first place, I think.
so
For real.
Actually?
I
think so.
was doing a deep dive on this shit. You know, like, it's a fad in jiu-jitsu. I agree, right? But like, I wanted to see if there's any kind of merit there in the tiny brain that I have to understand these kind of concepts, not only jiu-jitsu, but teaching jiu-jitsu. And I started listening to the podcast of that Greg Souders guy, Souders,
I can't remember his name
Standard Jiu-Jitsu, and he was saying some like interesting shit, and it's how we are taught in law school. So it was a lot of like parallels that I saw on my own like formal academic education. And I was like, okay, like it's very Socratic, it's very like trial and error, it's very like let people learn by asking questions and giving them problems rather than giving them answers. So I was actually filling in for Kyle, who's another one of our black belts, for about 6 weeks, teaching like all the blue belts and white belts and some purple belts leg locks. And in 6 weeks, we had one of our fucking white belts here consistently tapping purple belts that weren't coming to that class. And he was already like a good white belt. I think he just got his blue belt. And he's an athletic guy, and he'd been training for a long time, so obviously it's not me or this fucking system. He was putting in the work himself.
Yeah, but when you put in the reps and in
you
the ecological, it's not just reps, but it's reps under I don't want to say pressure, but with resistance.
Yeah, with not only with resistance, but like changing. The one thing that really attracted me to this idea is that like the problem that I always had with learning linear jiu-jitsu, like learning like you teach me one move. It's like, all right, dope, dude. Like, if I ever get in a dogfight, I'll now know what to do. But it's my second week of jiu-jitsu, and how often am I going to be in the dogfight?
So it just won't click? Or
Whereas
just
it's like,
you know,
okay, like, and like, because you're so seldomly in that position in general, you're not going to get enough reps to like have that be cemented as muscle memory or even like intellectual memory, right?
Yeah.
So instead, what I've been trying to do with this ecological approach, and I'm sure people who are much more familiar with it than I am will tell me I'm doing it wrong, is trying to like teach the principles behind shit.
Yeah.
Right? So that way when you're in the dogfight, you can be thinking, okay, destabilize, frames, base, inside position. If I'm thinking about those things and I'm applying those principles and I'm advancing those principles, probably gonna end up in a better fucking situation.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to do with the white belts. But what I've really been trying to do is teach them not how to roll like fucking spazzes.
How do you teach that?
So, one thing that, when I was listening to these podcasts and shit, trying to figure out how to have people match the same skill set and the same intensity is like, I can't roll with them and like, or drill with them. Like, I have to like actually be paying attention and like, present as a coach or an instructor or whatever you want to call me, as the leader of that class.
If you're in charge of it in your...
And I have to, but the interventions are less like tell them what to do and more like if a dude is just smashing another dude, the guy who's smashing be like, hey, okay, you're not allowed to use your arms anymore.
Oh.
And that does two things, I think. It's like, it helps the guy on top learn how to like pin a dude with just like chest to chest, or chest to shoulder.
Isolates concept. I like that.
And it helps the guy on bottom by giving him a little bit of a handicap where he can like start working and getting his frames back without like just getting cross-faced to hell by a guy who's bigger, stronger, or better.
But here's the thing. I think I was talking with Axel about this same thing years ago. No, not years ago. Actually, recently he went to another gym. We're not gonna mention names here, but he went to another gym. And he was telling me that story last week. And it was no-gi, so he didn't have his ranking on him. He didn't have his belt, in other words. And he was going against a guy who turned out to be lower ranked than him. But, Axel is not going to start telling people, bow down. So
he just tells me.
Just
me.
Yeah,
he just tells
maybe
me.
You, via triangles.
Well, I tell him chokes don't work, and now every time he tries to put me in a choke, I just give him a wrist to wrist lock, and he takes the bait every time. So he hasn't choked me in a while.
I have, to that effect. I love Father's Milk.
Yeah, dude.
I misspoke. I misspoke. I love giving Father's Milk.
I didn't even say
I've been bringing that to the night class.
So, but the funny thing is, guys know that, and they're like, no, they're spazzing out of it. But when they're spazzing out of it, all you have to is move a little bit because they're spazzing out of it like this, right? Yeah. Just move a little bit, get to the mouth, and you get mother's milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there is a transition.
Yeah, and then it's like, the whole family is in there, so there's milk from everyone. Anyway, so the point that I was trying to make is that this guy, they're doing something like this, and the guy's like, no, but you're holding. So, but then the guy explodes out of it because Axel wasn't using arms or something.
Yeah.
So the exact same situation, I think.
Yeah.
So he's using his chest down. Oh, he was telling Axel how to put top pressure. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he tells, no, don't use your arms, and then Axel doesn't use his arms, and then the fucking guy just explodes from underneath. And it's like, well, I mean, you will explode from there because there's so much space, whether you put pressure or not, there is space to explode. So to that point, you have to match intensity.
Yeah. I agree, and that's
you can't. That's a problem with to me with ecological effect. There are some problems, but that to me is one problem. That matching intensity in terms of if it's two experienced people, like if for
around
example,
the same level.
Same level or at least experience to the point where they're calm.
Yeah.
That's quite
and then they can
important.
control,
I've rolled with blue belts that are very calm, white belts that are very calm too. Maybe not as skilled, but
calm.
So what that means is if I ask him, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you mount me? And I'm going to try and escape. But I don't want you to hold on to my head for dear life. Just try and not let me escape, but don't hold on to my head.
Yeah.
So I can see what's open there,
So you bring up two really good points that I'm facing in trying to adopt this, approach to teaching new people. One is white belts love to kill each other. Right? They love to fucking kill each other. They want to murder each other.
That's why we love white belts.
It's fun as shit to watch. Well, because it's just chaos.
Since you're watching them for the most part, and I do that in the morning sometimes, I most of the time actually in the morning, I roll in Gustavo's class. I sometimes roll in my classes, but I watch for the most part, right? It's fucking entertaining,
It's
man.
so entertaining.
Because no one knows what they're doing.
No.
Because
People
just
know what they're doing, but they're doing it at a different kind of. Imagine,
like just using
it's
all
like-
strength, like power, like.
It's their life depends on it.
Yeah. It's like a free world. Well, I guess World Star's free, but it's like World Star on like 12 different cameras that you're just like you're looking everywhere and you're like, oh shit, what the hell? Oh shit.
It's literally sometimes it's literally like and it just don't see boring roles. You don't see boring roles.
That's one way to put it.
Where it's like
there's
slow or strategic.
No,
it's
no
not
such
methodical.
thing.
It's just like wild.
Not slow, not strategic.
It's like watching a highlights reel on ESPN, like a top 10. And just look here, then look there. Have you seen those memes? Have you seen those memes on Instagram where there's a guy usually and he's looking one way and then he's looking another way and there's something else stupid going on.
Yeah.
So in this Monday night class, I spend about half the time telling people dial it back. You're not trying to win, you're trying to learn. You're not trying to win, you're trying to learn. And if I'd see somebody like not getting it, I'll literally walk up to them and be like, hey, just dial it back a little bit, 10%. I want you to work 10%. I want you to like feel this position. And another thing I tell them is if I stop you, I want you to be able to tell me without like breathing heavy what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you could be wrong. It could be fucking the dumbest idea ever. But as long as you're having an idea, rather than just like going reptile brain and like floundering around like a fish.
So
like have an idea, try that idea, see why that didn't work. Cross that idea off the list, right? Yeah. Now, telling them that and having them do that is two different fucking things. But the thing, the great, so like on Monday I was teaching this idea of frames, right? Last Monday. This Monday, I was teaching the idea of just destabilization. Building off of frames, now destabilization. So I was like, okay, where's a good place to like, A, show how important like having a good base and maintains your own stability is, and B, how important it is to destabilize your opponent. I was like, okay, mount, right? Mount. You need to destabilize your opponent to get a lot of the escapes going, and to like really start threatening stuff from mount, you need to have good base, right? And just by reminding them to like destabilize, try to keep their opponent's hands on the mat and use their frames, these kids that had been taking like 3 or 4 classes were independently developing the elbow escape.
Yeah.
Just like, and they were getting like a couple things wrong. They weren't keeping their elbow on the far hip. So if their opponent was good, and this is where I'm running into what you were saying, like, yeah, if the guy doesn't know what to do to capitalize off a bad move, the guy doing the bad move won't realize it's a bad move. So like, for example, one of the guys he independently developed the elbow escape without ever being showed it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't keeping the elbow on the far hip. So had he been going against somebody that has a little bit more skill, when you take the back, right? And then like another guy, he was bigger and stronger than most people, and he was literally able just to sit up and stiff arm people, right?
Well, that's the most common thing I see from beginners when you tell them, get up and leave. You know, it's literally what happens and it's not just with big people. If you start getting up, and provided that the other person is not good enough to stay on your back, because when you start getting up, you're usually tripoding. Remember what you were gonna say? Usually tripoding. So if you just start choking and stuff like that, you're usually gonna slide off if you have no idea what you're doing. Yeah, it's a tricky position. You see that in MMA all the time, because people are slippery, not because they don't know what they're doing. It's slippery, right? So that's another thing. And if you look at Derek Lewis, that's exactly what he does. He has technique to get up, but obviously he has technique to get up. But those guys that he's pushing off, they're not any smaller than him. They're sometimes bigger. Sometimes bigger even. But the thing is, he'll do the most natural thing that anybody would do who doesn't want to stay on the ground. You know,
just stand up
and just stand up. And we're taught, because it's a ground fighting sport, we're taught to find a way by doing it on the ground. Yeah. But again, it's very natural for someone that doesn't like. Imagine you getting kicked in your head, or there is a threat of you being kicked in the head while somebody is mounting you. Yeah. You're probably going to be looking to get up. Yeah, 100%. Right after you cover yourself the first time and you absorb the kick, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, it's time to get out of here." You know?
100%.
So it's a natural technique to develop. Naturally, it comes naturally to you. Yeah, and it's not even that hard if you're up against someone inexperienced. Yeah, you know.
And like the problem to that point is like kind of what you're saying with Derek Lewis is that like when I see these kids or these people, some of them are like my age or younger, when I see them doing bad techniques but doing them effectively and not being with people to show them in a game situation why it's a bad technique, I'm at a loss as an instructor how to curb that bad technique without telling them the answer, right? So for example, like this one kid was just doing like I'm in bottom mount, put my hands on their chest and sit up. And like nobody knows that reflexive armbar, you know, or even to get like the knees up in the armpit and go to ass mount, like the million things that we could do from that situation, right? The million things. This is a lot of people's, first 6 months in jiu-jitsu, so they've never seen those situations. And now I'm like, okay, do I let this kid who's just like strong as shit and able to stiff arm people out of him reinforce the bad technique? Or do I give him the answer and be like, hey, dude, that might work against this guy, but you're going to get your arm broken then?
I think that I can imagine exactly what you're saying. And I think that it is a bad technique from the perspective of jiu-jitsu. And he'll probably get armbarred a million times in his journey, if he keeps doing it, of course. But he will also get better at this bad technique.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, at this particular bad technique, he will improve. Yeah. And he will especially improve when he gets armbarred a few times. He'll be like, question for him is, question if this happening to me, if I'm the one, I would be like, this shit is working, but it's not working against everyone. I got armbarred, so there are dangers. Do I ditch that technique altogether, or do I actually make it work for me?
Yeah. Oh. So, and that's where I was like, do I let this guy, like a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, have that journey, or do I stop that journey?
Have you talked to Gustavo about this particular case?
So
I'll tell you why, because I'm almost sure I know what Gustavo will tell you.
So I've talked to Gustavo about this approach. And he is like, he was talking about, when we were talking about, me trying this out, he's like, I think it's really good. I think it's really interesting. It was something that he tried, like experimented with a little bit, but decided not to like dive in full force with. I I have not talked to him about like specifically at what point do I intervene with bag.
I think that he will. I've seen that. I've seen cases where people are doing something wrong,
Yeah.
you know, and something like this, but it works. And I think that he will just let it be.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
until they realize.
until
or
they realize,
they-
and it's not only until they realize. Like I said, they will realize, but it also makes the other people better if you think about it.
Why?
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
it's a very common approach. I used to get pushed off of mount all the time. It's a very common approach. Also, we have a Q&A class on Fridays, so
Oh,
please
yeah.
attend the class and find out why it's not working or why it is
Yeah.
working, or what to do when people start stiff arming you and getting up from the worst position, you know. So we're also taught not to turn away when you're in the back. When you're on my back, we're taught not to turn away, but to put our back on the ground. That fucking happens all the time, and it works too. It depends on who you're up against,
Bro,
You know.
if you take my back, I'm gonna go belly down, and I swear to God, I will get out of it.
I'm
dude.
telling you, that's my point. That's my point. We're taught not to do that. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it's.
That it doesn't
If you're
have-
good at it, you're probably worse at the proper technique than you are at your own at the bad technique that you are consistently doing. It's bad because
Yeah.
we're. It's bad because it won't work for
Every
70-80% of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it works for you, dude,
Yeah.
if you have a bum knee or something or elbow, like I had
Right.
I had a
Or an
bad
injury
I had
or
a bad
something.
shoulder.
Yeah.
I would play on the one side only. You know, I couldn't throw. It was this shoulder actually. I couldn't throw underhooks. I would.
Because it hurt all that.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't open
yeah.
my arm, but I would. I mean, I wasn't exactly rehabbing it like you said, but I was working through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would play a lot of bottom half guard on this side, and, you know, which is luckily the good side for me.
Yeah.
And so my point is, I was skipping a lot of. I was like not giving away underhooks, but I was missing to take underhooks on purpose because I knew that it would hurt me, like if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
passing and stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so I made something work
Right.
for me without actually handicapping myself completely.
Oh. Yeah, so you have to change your game. right?
But it's like,
But-
yeah. So, I mean, is it the right thing to do not to take the underhook? Of course, it's not as a majority. But remember that the I don't know if you saw the video that Gustavo did the breakdown of Luke Griffith passing Big Dan Maniso with the knee cut. He passed him twice in the same match with the same. He was in seated guard, Big Dan, and Luke went collar tied and knee cut with a collar tie, so there's no underhook.
Yeah.
And-
That's like what
and
the
I've
Wiltsey
seen-
brothers do, right? With that bus saw.
They do the
passing?
bus saw. Yeah, they do something similar.
shoot the
They
underhook.
use the underhook,
Yeah.
but they don't concentrate on the other hook. They concentrate on the
Getting
pass
all the way
by,
around, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're always told do not knee cut without the underhook. But I can show you a way to knee cut without the underhook that's going to take you to front headlock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because if you don't take the front headlock bottom, then you're going to end up on your side or give
Yeah.
up the back. So, my point here is, if this works for me, I'll keep doing it. And when I get caught continuously, and I think that's what Gustavo was thinking when he sees people doing those kind of things. When I get caught over and over
Yeah,
in
in the
something,
same-
you know, maybe
yeah.
an armbar or something, like if I'm pushing off from the mount, I will modify my escape, my
Yeah,
approach.
your approach to.
But also, I'm going to inadvertently make a bunch of people better at their armbars.
No, 100%.
And there is a bunch of white and blue belts
Oh,
that
yeah.
can't catch that armbar that we're taught that we drill
The-
always, because nobody does that to
Yeah.
you. Nobody does that.
So
Yeah.
you never get any looks.
We do
doing
that
it, yeah.
drill.
You're right.
I taught my kid that drill. It made him better
Oh,
at the
we're-
spin. Yeah, I
yeah.
taught him. When he trained
Oh,
with you,
yeah,
he
yeah,
did it.
yeah, when we did it, yeah.
It made him better at the spin,
Yeah.
right? At pointing his hips around. That's why this drill is great. You know, when people start pushing, and Gustavo teaches it, and he tells you nobody's gonna do that to you, but we do it
Yeah.
anyway because it's a good drill for your body movement.
Oh, okay.
But people
That makes
will do
sense.
it to you.
Yeah.
And if you're blue and purple belt and anything higher, and you're not able to do that,
Yeah.
even though it's like they're literally giving you two arms to take a choice which one you want to armbar, and you don't take it, then it's like you got the golden opportunity to tap a guy that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point too. Is like, and thank you for pointing it out. That I'm focusing too much on like the guy on bottom, right? Like, letting a guy fuck up helps his opponent learn jujitsu
Yeah.
better.
And
The problem is that like, being not intelligent myself, I will keep doing the same thing over and over and over. And unless there is some intervention at some point, do I just reinforce those bad things? You know, like you're very mindful. I think a lot of people show up in jiu-jitsu and they put in the hour and like they don't watch any instructionals, they don't watch any matches, they don't think about this unless they're here on the mat.
Yeah.
Right? And like they're obviously going to progress much slower than people
Oh,
like
a lot of-
Addison who like
yeah.
live and breathe this shit, right?
Yeah. A lot of people don't think even when they're on the mat, they just roll and stuff. A lot of people don't have the I don't know what that ability is to learn from watching something.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
totally normal. It
superpower.
happens all the time.
It's a superpower, dude. People
I-
who can do
What,
that.
that can absorb it, like
Like
Absorb,
Addison.
visually absorb it, yes.
Oh, from
Yeah.
watching like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, Addison is really good
instructionals?
at this.
We
yeah.
got this guy Addison at our gym who started probably like 2 or 3 years after me, and when he got his blue belt, and when he was a blue belt, I could literally do anything I wanted to the guy. The most meme submissions in the world, stuff that shouldn't work on anybody, and then he got obsessed with watching and studying jiu-jitsu. And he is now, I think, he definitely has one of the best guard retentions in the gym.
Oh, for sure.
And every day he's coming in with some new technique that I'm like, wait, what the fuck is that shit? Show me that shit, please. Like, yeah.
He
He's-
does. He's good
like
at that.
his,
Progress really fast.
yeah. And it was like out of nowhere. Like for 2 years, it was like you could do anything you wanted to this kid. And then out of nowhere, he just like got good. He just got good. And it was like, because he fucking he started
You
putting
put
in
in
the
the
work
work. Yeah, the
on,
extra.
he started doing homework,
You know,
which a lot of people don't.
Sometimes something clicks and you start doing it, but he had the ability, he has the natural talent or ability to absorb and learn from watching. There's a lot of people that don't, and they've told me, I can't sit and watch and learn. It's just not, even in school, you know? It's not the
Like
way...
a short attention span, or it just doesn't click for whatever
that
reason.
or you just don't get it.
Yeah.
I have people in class sometimes that you can show them a move like a bunch of times and they still and it's not that they can do the move, it's that you can see that they don't know. It's like
the body mechanics or the way.
yeah, the body mechanics for the most part.
Okay.
And it's but if they do it once or twice, if they eventually do it, they'll get it and they'll start doing it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's just different types of learning. There's different types of learning. That's why to generalize, if you have a big class, let's say, and you say, okay, guys, we're gonna do this and this, and then you're like, well, you know, this guy doesn't get it. Let me spend a bunch more time there and stuff like this. It might be pointless.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad thing to say from a, you know, you'll be like, oh, you're coaching, you're supposed to, or, you know, instructing, you're supposed to.
Like encourage them.
Yes and no, because
to-
not everyone will get the part, you know, not everyone
Yeah.
will get the move, but they might get it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow if it happens so in roll,
Okay.
Yeah.
in
Right,
a
right,
live
right.
roll. And also a lot of people, so those are people that have, I don't want to say learning disability, but they don't have the ability to, they don't have the,
I'm only
no.
laughing because I'm that person. I can't watch a move and be able to do
Yeah,
it. I have
there's
to do
people
it.
like that, but it's not a learning
Yeah.
disability because you
No.
can learn in other ways.
Right. But
It's
it's just
a-
not their style
it-
of learning or
You
their
don't
approach
have
that
the
clicks.
ability to learn that way.
Yeah. Right.
By absorbing either instruction, visual instruction,
Yeah.
one way or another, on video or in person. But when you start rolling, that's the ecological approach.
Yeah.
You know, that's and you don't have to have any restrictions to it. I'm just saying that you can roll for 5 minutes or something, and if you're like, what's going on exactly and all that stuff, that's why people are sometimes are like, I'm gonna sound like Donald Trump. People tell me sometimes, but people sometimes ask me like, how the fuck did you remember? Because I was like, how did you do this and this? And they're like, when did that happen? You know, and it was like, I can tell you exactly when it happened. It happened after this and before that, and it was around the 3-minute mark. And they're like, the fuck? I'm like, I'm just mindful about it. I
Right. And then
know
you-
even so. Sometimes that doesn't mean I don't get tapped at all. Of course I do, but it also means that, you know, I pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah.
You know. And so, you know, there are different ways to learn. So if you're mindful during the roll, but you can't learn from looking at stuff, watching stuff,
Yeah.
but you're mindful during the roll of those things, you might be able to learn that way. If you set yourself certain goals, which is exactly what the ecological approach is.
Yeah.
But you set yourself small goals, not like, well, my goal is to tap this guy. That's not a fucking goal.
That's Taurus.
That's Horus, yeah. At all costs and by all means, and there's usually like inverted armbar or something, you know. But but if you set yourself a goal, like for example for Horus, just to give you an example, and if you're watching that motherfucker, just listen carefully. No kidding. I'll tell him that when we invite him. I'll tell him that same thing. If you wanna. Why don't you, if you want to be mindful when you roll, don't do the things you always do. Let that be your goal for the roll. Don't do the things. And you're going to expose a lot of weaknesses that way on your own part. And I do it sometimes and it's super uncomfortable because it puts you in
vulnerable positions.
In territories, in waters that you're not comfortable in, you know.
That's one thing that I think helped me progress in my jiu-jitsu is... like every year, I go back and forth between like giving myself rules of like when I roll with a blue belt, I will not do X. When I roll with a purple belt or a brown belt or whatever, I will not do X. Because when I was like a blue belt, I started developing like good leg locks for a blue belt, a hobbyist blue belt, right? Which is in the grand scheme of shit, pretty shitty leg locks, but they were effective in gyms and open mats and shit like that, right? But then I couldn't pass to save my fucking
Especially
life.
back then when nobody.
Oh no, I know, dude. That's why I learned them because it was a cheat code.
Yeah.
Like I was tapping people I shouldn't have been tapping with the stupidest straight ankle locks, you know. But now people are getting hip to it, and I had to get a little bit better. But I couldn't fucking pass a guard to save my life, right? So I like had to give myself these arbitrary rules where it was like, if I'm rolling with somebody that's the same belt as me or same skill set as me and lower, I have to develop new skills. I have to try new passes. I have to like try new positions. And if I'm rolling with somebody who's better than me, my goal is to tap them, right? Which is a very big goal. But then I'm gonna sharpen the tools that I'm already good at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then like pull guard, don't pull guard. Like I don't know. I think like not being in your comfort zone is the only way to get better.
I usually set my goals like this, and I suffer. But I'll do it like a mixed class, like beginners and then advanced. I'll try and do the same thing, because like if I'm working on something, because what happens is when you pull it off on white belts or on beginners, it works. Yeah. Is it going to work on someone better? Maybe on purple belts. It's hard to work purple belt. You're at a level where you've sharpened your defenses already. You've been smashed and you're good at defending and stuff. So maybe it won't work on purple belts, but it's okay, But you will know the reaction. You will know at what point it works. I'll give you an example. Just a simple. You get to a north-south kimura, right? Kind of like from Father's Milk. They turn a little bit.
That's one of my favorite
they don't
positions. From top and bottom, one of my favorite positions.
It's a signature.
Mikey's like, I'll do anything to kimura somebody from the bottom. But when you do that, for example, and people are holding, right? Yeah. And big, strong people, and they're holding. And let's say you're trying to rip the kimura, right? But they're holding. And obviously that there's a difference between stronger holds and weaker holds and all that. But anyway, you have their shoulders pinned around your legs. You're in a good position. And then with beginners, it's like, even if they're stronger, it's kind of easy to fucking break it because they don't know exactly how and when to put tension. They'll put tension
the whole time.
They'll hold, and they'll exhaust themselves. Then what you do is you let go a little bit. You don't. So instead of pulling, if he's holding like his hands like this
like,
and all the time, and I'm pulling a little bit, and then I let go a little bit. He lets go too. But that's not gonna happen. But that's not gonna happen with a purple belt.
No, because they know.
It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
So because they already learn, and that goes back to being spazzy and learn to relax. They know when to hold and when to let go. If I start yanking, they'll hold it harder. Okay. But as I let go a little bit, they don't let go right away. They'll start taking advantage of it to escape rather than relax.
Like completely relax. Yeah. Right?
So that's a big difference. Okay. If that makes sense. If you do jiu-jitsu, it'll make sense. But my point is, you learn those. So if I'm working on this technique, for example, I will see that, okay, this works there, and they kind of let me do it at this point, you know, like, all right, so this works, but why doesn't it work on the purple belt? It doesn't work. I mean, he's smaller than the white belt that I just tapped, so why is it not working? Well, it's because he starts escaping the moment I relax a little bit to bait him or something, or maybe I relax because I'm tired of yanking or something, you know? I relax a little bit and he starts escaping. I'm like, okay, so this is the point of escape. The point where they start escaping is when you actually let go a little bit, when you give them a little bit of window. And that's usually the case anyway, but from bad positions. But this is an exceptionally bad position. This is submission escape already, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, so that's my thought process, you know. On the next roll, I'm going to go against someone that's in a level in between, and you'll see how they react, you know. And then you're like, you know what, is it sometimes... For me, for example, I like to go to an armbar from there because I just work less, you know. You're missing the best submission in jiu-jitsu right there. Oh, wait a second.
Nope.
Wait.
What is it?
Wait. Obviously, you're not talking about something like Tarico Plata. No. I don't think with your hips you're gonna go there, but no.
It's actually something that's more hip intensive.
Oh.
But it's worth it because it humiliates everybody.
Oh, the nutcracker. The nutcracker, yeah. I know the nutcracker.
The nutcracker is the best submission.
The nutcracker is the nutcracker is so easy
when
to
I do
defend,
that,
it's so treacherous.
I do it to everybody. I love it. You have that north-south Kimura. Okay. You struggle, but then you just like thigh master. You fall to the side. And you thigh master their throat. It's just the gnarliest trade smash. Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty bad.
And if they're good, if they see it coming, or if they turn their head or whatever,
they can get out of it.
You can just take their back.
Usually what people do with me is when I try it, so they're holding the kimura. That's why it's happening because your legs are around their head already, and they don't defend their head, but they'll let go of the arm to push on the leg, which is normal because what else are you gonna do? You're gonna get, and that's you expect that you take the arm for a kimura, right? So you actually finish the kimura. That's the same with the side triangle and the kimura. Same kind of combination, same principle of attack. But to that point, you know, you can do things like okay. So here, that's a very good example, Mike. So you work on that. You're experimenting. But you will get a different reaction from a purple belt than you will from a white belt. On this specific, especially on this kind of submission, because it's a great submission. It's underutilized, but it's been done in the UFC. It's well utilized probably. Yeah. Just not often enough, I guess.
Yeah. It's also one of those that like I feel like if you see it happen a few times, you become hyper aware of it.
Man, I did it to an open mat as a white belt once on another white belt. The nutcracker.
Oh.
Yeah. I did it, and the guy tapped almost right away. Yeah. And he told me, "What the fuck was that?" And like, that's why he tapped right away too, because
it's definitely a panic tap.
He panicked. Yeah.
It's a trach smash.
It depends where his face is. It depends. It could be a suffocation.
But if you get it,
if it's like right here,
like I have it, and I have it down to like a fucking science. Like I have these physical cues where if I feel the crown of their head like this in the pit of my knee. Not even. I don't even worry about their fucking throat. But if I feel the crown of their head in the pit of my knee, I know I can fall to the side, and I'm gonna get my other knee underneath their chin.
If it's there at the crown.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it like their body just lines up. Yeah. And it's perfect.
There is grooves that are just put there. Yeah. By evolution for a reason.
Just so I can nutcrack them. All of human history has come to this position just so I can laugh at people choking.
It's like you know when you get an underhook or something, and there is always this like one handle that you can just grab.
Like a lat
right there,
like
the lat or something. It's like it's there for a reason. It's for that underhook to happen. You know.
Evolution wanted us to grapple.
Yeah. But I have a great nutcracker story, right? So when I first started, and not this gym, not the previous one, but the Way of the Warrior. You used to go to the Way.
Yeah. That's where I first started training.
You started Muay Thai there, no?
No, I started jiu-jitsu. I started doing jiu-jitsu there in like late 2016.
Me too.
Yeah.
At Way of the Warrior?
Way of the Warrior.
Way of the Warrior, yeah, late 2016.
Right after I graduated law school when I was studying for the bar.
So let me ask you something. How do you know about the nutcracker? Is that when you found out? Well, but is that when you found out about it? When you first started?
2016?
It was like one of the first like legit submission setups I ever learned was how to get to that north-south Kimura from side control.
Yeah. Correct.
And then I had like 5 submissions I could do from there, and I did just that. and straight ankle locks until I got my blue belt, and that's like all
I want to plug something in. I want to plug something in. I do have a half guard course. I'm going to be filming a Kimura system course very soon, and it's going to be available on Patreon for now, and then probably on my website later. But anyway, back to your point. So you and I probably learned this shit at the same time,
Dude.
and there is a good
No
reason for it.
kidding.
And listen to this.
Oh,
I suffered, brother. I suffered for that shit. I paid my dues with that nutcracker. I've smelled more nuts than you have, Sasha. I have sniffed more nuts than I care to.
Way the Warrior?
And yet you keep coming back.
And I
Yeah, see, and you're still here. That's the thing.
So here's the thing. Gustavo used to shoot video. Well, he still does, right?
Yeah.
But he used to shoot more videos even at the time.
Yeah.
And he would shoot different videos and again
instructionals
techniques. Yeah,
and
no,
okay.
just
And just
yeah,
YouTube
instructional
shit.
videos, but
just
YouTube
YouTube?
videos.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes. For MMA Lich. So he had just shot an instructional on Ashigarami on the leg locks.
It
That was
a
his
fantastic.
second. It's a very good.
video.
Yeah, we talked about it with him last week, but that was his second full instructional, right? But aside from those full instructionals, he was doing videos, right? And this one time, just when I started, late 2016, he had shot the Nutcracker the day before. He fucking posts that video at 9 a.m. or something like this, all right? And then the class is at 10 or something. And people are sitting in their car, all the blue belts, fucking hungry motherfuckers. By the way, that gym was full of blue belts at the time. When I walked in, I don't know if you remember, but there was,
Wait, why were there
and
all
most of
blue
them are not
belts?
even here anymore. Of course, they
They're-
got the
and they were
blue
fucking
belt fever.
Really?
Dude, there was that like Egyptian guy who had long curly hair, built like fucking Adonis, who could
remember
fucking
him.
do a Turkish get up with a fucking barbell and a fucking plate on each side.
No
I swear to
way.
God, he would 135 Turkish get up.
No.
Arm locked out, and I would just look at this guy, and he was massive, and I'm like,
Oh, and he drops it and he's like, let's
motherfucker,
roll.
I just got done with law school. I'm fat as fuck. I'm old as fuck. What do you want me to do to this guy, dude?
This guy's not here.
There was a bunch of big guys.
Actually, they're
all blue
big,
belts.
like-
And
Big.
it's like
Wow.
Ross was a purple belt, Pete was a purple belt, Marciano was a
time.
brown belt at the time.
Dude, Marciano. I got a good story about Marciano. Just go keep it
I'll remind you. So this is that same morning I go to class. It was one of my first classes, maybe second week or something, third week. My chest is painful because they've been doing neon belly on me. I didn't want to go to class, but I pushed through the fucking thing. And I'm like, all right, I made it here.
Yeah.
Look at all these hungry, vultures waiting for me to walk in through the door. And everybody starts doing the same fucking thing on me, the Nutcracker. They go, obviously, anybody can get to that
kidding.
position on me.
Yeah.
And then boom, Nutcracker. Boom, Nutcracker. Sean Conan was.
Oh, Sean,
Sean
yeah.
Conan was not McDonald. He was there. He was a purple belt there too.
Rock
but-
climber Sean.
Yeah, rock
has
climber
the
Sean.
biggest hands in the world, dude.
Yeah, he's super strong and shit. He did it to me. Everybody
Ooh,
did it
back
to
to
me and their
back.
grandmother. Yeah, I mean, like 3 times in a row, in a 5-minute roll, I was getting crushed. I sniffed so many nuts that day. And I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And it turns out Gustavo had just posted that video or something like that.
Everyone was
and
watching
everyone was watching that video. Maybe the day before, and everybody was waiting to come to class and try that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
And that's when I learned it. And then
Yeah.
I went to an open mat
He said, revenge.
now-
and I showed him what's up.
That's right. It's like, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah.
My turn.
That was the
No
Nutcracker story for me,
kidding.
man.
My first jujitsu
funny.
class over at Way of the Warrior
Yeah.
was the Texas Clover from, I think it was Honey Hole. It may have been Osh.
Did you used to come at night?
I came during the day.
I was going during the day too.
Yeah, it was during the day.
remember.
It was my first class ever doing jujitsu, and I was with Nick, right?
Nick was a blue belt, too.
Nick was a blue belt
Oh, I
at the
think I
time.
remember Nick.
Nick's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah,
Nick's
yeah,
the homie.
yeah.
But I'm a fucking dumbass white belt, not knowing anything, and it's like a leg entanglement, which is like. Jiu-jitsu's already confusing enough for somebody who's never trained, but then you like have people do
legs.
leg entanglements,
Oh
and
my
it's like,
God.
wait, what is going on? And we were drilling the Texas Clover, and I must have popped my fucking ankle 45 fucking times that day. I couldn't walk the next day. And I just remember thinking, this is the dopest shit in the world, and I need to learn how to do it. And now it's like one of my favorite submissions.
But that was the time when Gustavo had published his Ashigarami course, and I remember one morning again around that time, I go to class, and they start talking. I kid you not, they turn into a Japanese place. Like they start talking. Okay, so Ashigarami. And then
These terms
but no, it didn't turn into an except for Ashigarami. There was everything else was in kind of like English terms, like overleaf and stuff like. And there was game over, total game over, whatever it was.
Russian leg knot,
Russian leg,
all that stuff that was popular back then.
And I'm like, holy shit, what are we doing here? And they didn't know either. The guys didn't know either because Gustavo had barely started teaching that. So they didn't know either, and they're like, okay, so this is it. But guess who was on the receiving end of most of this, you know?
Yeah, the new guys, for sure.
Yeah, because, you know.
But, like, to Gustavo's credit, every time somebody, you know, comes into this gym and they're, like, asking what's up with it, I always think back to, like, 2016 when most gyms, when we first started, most gyms would not teach anybody leg locks, not even straight ankle locks.
Yeah.
Like,
why?
Not even, they wouldn't teach anybody even straight ankle locks. And, like, my first classes were positions that are too, you know, dangerous for white belts to learn.
Yeah.
And I remember when I would travel, dude, and like this quickly changed when higher belts started actually learning leg locks. But I remember like when I would go to different gyms or travel back to Vegas or overseas, as a white belt, I was tapping. I'm not like older black belts, not like competition black belts, obviously, but like black belts with basic fucking straight ankle locks. And it was all because Gustavo was like, dude, this is fucking jiu-jitsu. Like, go learn this shit, you know? So, mad props to him for that.
Yeah, he was always very, you know, a lot of gyms right now, even to this day, they don't teach white belts, they don't teach blue belts, they don't.
Like
I was just
or
like,
anything.
they don't really do it, and I think that it's wrong because, you know, you learn something and then, like we said earlier, you never know what's gonna be good for whom, you know, like.
Yeah.
It could become your thing. It might not. Like I haven't attacked leg locks in such a long time, but I have finished leg locks because people attack my legs, and then it's like I'm like, well, fuck it, it's there, you know. And you take it, you know. I mean, as if they're good, but if they're not that good at it, but if they are good, like for example with Addison, he would attack my leg, and I would escape counter attack, and then he would pull out of there, you know, or you know just defend it and get out of it. So it's like, I didn't catch the leg, but I got out of mine. I threatened you, and then
now
we
you're back to neutral.
We had a little exchange. We're back to neutral, you know. I was in a bad position. Now we're back to neutral. I take that, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, like even now, I get to travel a lot, and even now when I go overseas, like I just came back from Thailand, and one of the gyms I was training at in Thailand, like the first roll, I fucking do like the basic back step into honey hole on the guy. Fake the fucking knee cut, like I'm actually trying to pass. I don't pass, no. And I just backstep into honey hole, and like we get stopped mid round, and we're like, no, we don't reap here. And it was like no gi, and I was like,
it's not even a reap.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah,
Let
I know.
alone.
And I was like, you know, I didn't say
It wasn't
anything.
in the gi.
No, it wasn't in the gi. And you know, it's their gym. On all the respect in the world, they were like super hospitable and nice people, but I just can't.
You repay them with
But I just can't help
Look
to
what I
think.
found.
I just can't help to think that like you're doing a disservice to
Definitely.
like even white belts. Like,
limit
why
or
are you gonna
to-
wait until brown belt to learn jiu-jitsu?
I don't know any logic of that.
Of
Right?
what? Up to limit or to
Well,
restrict
what's
certain-
happening? You probably don't seem to know, but what's happening is with the leg locks, specifically with heel hooks and stuff. Maybe the straight ankle locks they teach here and there, but specifically with heel hooks and other things, they would wait until you're purple belt and above or brown belt and above.
Okay. Yeah, because I know they didn't
Not
want
in
to
the
teach white
gi,
belts.
never
but-
in the gi.
Never in the gi.
Which
And I didn't know that was a thing.
Why
Because
would you
Gustavo
say-
used to let me
Yeah,
fucking
we-
heel hook people in the gi all the time.
Wait, why is it never in the gi though?
There's a lot of friction, so if I grab his leg
Yeah.
and I start going, it's hard for him to turn. It's hard for him to slip the heel.
It's also really easy to defend.
Really easy to
You just
defend
fucking
because
grab
yeah.
lapels,
and
you
then
can't,
all
like,
Yeah,
so then
it's like
kind of
it's the
point.
stupidest thing ever
Yeah.
because yes, it is. If of course it's bad for you if you don't know how to defend it. A
Yeah.
fucking armbar is bad. It's horrible for you. It's your
Yeah.
right hand. You know, it's your whatever.
a Kimura, Bro, like, I would rather fucking tear either one of both of my ACLs than fuck up my shoulder.
Yeah,
right?
Like, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Yeah,
Dude, like in the Kimura, that shit will pop, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, for the Kimura, you said?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, sprawling on like a single leg or a double leg, like
Who
Sean.
fucked them? Oh, Sean. Yes. I was
Like
gonna say
Sean.
somebody
Which Sean?
was just
Sean McDonald.
Sean McDonald.
With
That's
the
how he fucked up
shoulder?
his shoulder.
He just had fucking shoulder surgery.
He-
all
just
because
recently?
a guy sprawled on him. I think
No
he
way.
he was shot like a single leg, like kind of a lazy single leg, and the guy just sprawled on it and popped his shit.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So I mean, like, dude, like all of it's a combat sport. We're always, dude. I broke my wrist when I was a blue belt, arm dragging Big Ryan, who's like 275
Oh, I remember
fucking
Ryan.
pounds.
Yeah,
I'm playing seated guard. He's like coming in on his knees, and I just arm drag him. He falls on my shit. And
I was
breaks it.
gonna say,
So it's
I'm
like, dude,
imagining how this shit happened.
yeah. So like you can break. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like trying to mitigate it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And like even like people get pissed about neck cranks, and I'm like, bro, if it fucking as long as you're not like going 0 to 100 and paralyzing me, and you made me fucking tap, it's a fucking submission, dude.
It is, and here's the worst part of it. If you go fight somebody in the street, and by the way, I tell my son that Albert, I tell him that when he rolls. But if you go fight someone in the street, not that I have.
It's like happy.
Don't fight anybody in the street.
No,
don't do
walk
it.
away, run away.
Sasha,
No, I'm testament to that.
never mind.
I mean,
Watch the second episode 2. Incriminate.
As your
Both of
attorney,
us.
do not fight. Walk
No,
away.
don't do it.
It's not worth it.
And also, as your attorney, he would probably tell you not to do, tell it in a podcast.
And if you did something illegal, don't talk about it on a podcast.
Well, we literally took it out of her.
Okay.
Got too
Got it out of her. I was
Like Sean, I'm like, I
imagine
guess I'll
this
be
guy watches
there.
the podcast like 10 years from now. It's like,
And I'm like,
fuck, the statute of
oh,
limitations. But anyway,
no.
so like we were talking before, out in the street, people will do crazy shit that you don't expect.
Yeah.
You know, everybody expects you to swing like a haymaker and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I expect, like you said, if you're sparring somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, that's the danger of getting caught in something like this. But you also know on the flip side that they're gonna gas out in about 35 seconds, and then you can do all your fancy shit on them without any repercussions. Same in the street. But the problem is if you're gonna grapple in the street or something, if you don't get caught in a sucker punch or something, if you're gonna grapple in the street, you can expect the unexpected. You know, you should be prepared for the unexpected because the one thing that everybody does is grab your head. Everybody will do that.
Is that the first?
Well, people grab your head and then you take their back and you choke them out. But it does take a few months for you to actually get good at this, of getting out of the headlock, you know, because it hurts, especially someone bigger. They're squeezing your jaw. You can't get your jaw. You have to wiggle it out. You have to do. It takes some skill, you know. The problem is that in class, everybody who did it for a couple of months doesn't do it anymore. Because they take your back, and you learn from bad experience, and you're like, I gain nothing by getting that headlock like that.
Right.
Bully,
So
they call it the school bully yard, the bully schoolyard, schoolyard bully choke. You know, grab your head
And then they squeeze.
So in the street it's dangerous because you're gonna get punched. But let's say, you know, assuming that you can go behind them, nobody does it in class. That's the problem. I mean, it's not a problem. It's a good thing. But it's a problem for you because you don't get to practice it. You practiced it maybe 10 years ago, and these days nobody does it unless you're all with brand new big white belts.
You remember Gustavo? He's shied away from this, but he used to like go through periods of teaching like self-defense jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
And he would do a lot of
I
like
meant to ask him.
What's the self-defense jiu-jitsu?
like you know. It's like
down.
it's almost like we
do-
would see the Gracie
you
instructions.
stand. Yeah, it's like the Gracie. Yeah,
Like you're some guy's talking to you, and it wouldn't play it out like this much, but like somebody throws a punch, like how to get in tight, what to do with a body lock.
Okay, so
When
literally
someone grabs your
self-defense,
hand.
kinda like
But
the-
it was
someone
very-
grabs your head when I was describing what
Okay,
to
But
do.
it's
it
kind of
wasn't like
concept.
MMA because it wasn't shit that you would see from like somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, even at a low level. It was like if a dude on the street puts you in the headlock, there's that like standing fucking.
Okay, like
how
how
to
to
maneuver
maneuver
yeah,
out of it, what to
like,
do.
the rollback and all
the
that stuff,
rollback, yeah.
Or even I remember getting behind, grabbing their hand, and then kicking the knee behind.
Yeah.
Like
actually,
literally.
stopping.
Doing that
Wait.
the police brutality.
The police brutality one? Yeah.
Oh, actually?
Like that kind of stuff.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
So we used to do
Oh,
that. We used to do that
what?
before. In fact, I showed it to Albert. I'm like, this is what, but you got to be careful when you do it. You don't break their arm and shit. Like if it's in school and something like this, you don't want to do that.
No.
He shouldn't be fighting.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Just
you
walk
should not.
away.
But I'm saying if you get your head grabbed here, most likely you were a victim.
Right.
But you got to get out of it. So now he knows how to get out of it. He's been
Okay.
training jiu-jitsu for a while.
Yeah.
But here's the flip side of it. And my kid tells me, like sometimes he would get with someone that doesn't really know what they're doing, but he's like kind of strong and stuff.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
would grab his head before he used to tap to it. Remember, he would tap to like
To the
people
pressure.
grabbing
Yeah, I remember that.
But
Squeezing.
now he's like from the squeezing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I told him, you just try to escape from there. You know, it's nothing will happen. You're not gonna pass out from that. It's gonna be a little uncomfortable for you.
No,
Maybe a
but
little cauliflower
not-
ears. We're all proud of those. You know, yeah.
Price to pay.
Yeah.
It's a trophy.
Sasha's proud to know us with the cauliflower ears. Anyway,
I got clean
see?
ears,
you
bro.
got clean ears.
you
I
do?
don't got. All I have is the reconstruction surgery for my gauges, but that's it. Nothing from jiu-jitsu.
For your gauges, gayness? What?
That too. No, I used to have big ass stretched ears, dude. Back in my younger days.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well,
Oh
if I had my fucking ID, I'd show you. But yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I had to
that.
get them sewed up when I became an adult. Unfortunately.
Shit, I didn't know that, man.
Oh, kitties.
Yeah. But
But
anyway,
dude, to your point, like this is another thing. My PSA for this fucking podcast is if you do jujitsu, do not think that you know how to get in a fucking street fight.
No.
If you do Muay Thai, do not think that you know how to get in a fucking
Fair,
street fight.
yeah.
If you fucking are a world championship fucking MMA fighter, do not think that you know how to get in a street fight. I work in criminal defense. I have seen so many fights turn into murders, turn into very bad situations because one guy who may have been a trained fighter, may have been competition jiu-jitsu or MMA, thought he could handle a situation and the other guy had a gun or a fucking knife.
Oh, wow.
And you can't fucking karate chop
Or a friend.
Or a friend.
Or a friend.
And you can't fucking karate chop a goddamn bullet. Walk away. Just fucking walk away, dude. Your ego, your pride,
everybody
your
wins.
wallet, your phone isn't worth you going to prison or you fucking dying or you being paralyzed. We play a sport, even if it's fucking MMA, it's a sport. Somebody grabs a knife, that sport's out the fucking window. Somebody grabs a gun, that sport's out the window. That's my PSA. Don't fucking fight.
With homelessness especially, what do you think these guys carry? I mean, I don't know about guns, but
Members-
everybody has a shame.
Yeah, or something,
Members of the
yeah.
community, they're
Members,
doing
yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
wrong, dude.
Yeah.
They're just out there living life.
They are.
My people.
Have I ever told you the story? I was stopping one night over here in this taco truck to get some tacos.
Yeah.
And I fucking parked next to it was nighttime, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and there's nobody in the street. And I just go like in the movies, you know how there's always parking next to the curb, and I go like, vroom. And I went like this because there was parking. Vroom. But there was a homeless encampment right there at the time. And I parked by the first tent. So I just pulled up, and I felt something brushed. I kind of brushed something with the car, and I thought it was there were some bushes and trees and stuff, so I thought it was the leaves. I come out of the car, nothing serious. Come out of the car, I head over to the to the taco truck, and I turned because I heard something happening behind me. A guy comes out of the tent. It turns out his tent was sticking out a little bit, and I actually brushed past the tent.
Yeah.
And he thought that somebody was robbing him or something. He comes out with a fucking axe.
Oh.
With an axe, you know these little axes? No, it's little until
Until
it's very, it's very close to you. I'm not talking about Viking axe or anything. I'm talking about these little axes that they sell at Home Depot, you know?
What?
So the guy comes out with it, and I'm like, I just look at him, I'm like, sorry man, I parked the car, I must have. He's like, oh, okay. And he went back in.
See?
Yeah.
A
But
very friendly interaction
Yeah.
with a member of the community.
of course, I understand why the guy got freaked out. These guys live with their, you don't know what your neighbor is gonna do to you.
No, especially if you're on the street, man. Like all those guys
Yeah, that's
have
what I mean.
mental
That's what I
health
mean.
issues
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
And they get fucked with so much.
Oh yeah. So I think that it's a great advice. Do not
Just
literally-
fucking walk away,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
walk away, and it's probably better. And especially, I mean, this is LA, so not many people carry guns, I assume, but especially in other
I
fucking
will be
states.
soon.
I know you will.
Can't wait.
Other states, fuck, you don't know.
yeah.
You don't know what's back.
where-
And you're gonna say, well, I'm not using any little, I'm not threatening him with a gun. Why would he pull out a gun? Because they're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, they don't need that.
Yeah.
Pull
So
it out.
just walk away from that shit and live on to tell the story here.
Yeah, your X guard isn't gonna do well against a guy with a fucking knife. It's not.
No.
Your blast double will not stop a bullet.
Yeah. Although it will do a lot of good things. The blast level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we this started from the point that we learn a lot of stuff that is sports related. We also don't learn enough stuff that actually happens in an actual
street.
We're not talking about MMA because you can train MMA
Yeah.
safely and all that, and
Yeah.
usually both people are trained, so that stuff doesn't happen in MMA either.
That headlock,
yeah.
Yeah.
Those headlocks, those nut
Oh,
kicks.
none of that.
I mean, not that. I mean, nut kick is. I think those are hard to land in the first place.
Yeah.
But
Against some people.
I mean, you got,
Against me, they'd be impossible to land. But
why is that?
just anatomically, it's a
Anatomically
small target. It's a
impossible.
small target. Dude.
Oh, because I got, because I got descending testicles, bro. Those things are gonna be very easy to kick. I'm 48. Those things are easy to kick. He might step on them without even knowing. That's TMI. What did you say earlier? PS what?
PSA.
Yeah, that's TMI right there. But yeah, you gotta train sometimes for the unexpected.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's hard to do because.
But
you're
don't
gonna
you
get-
think like jujitsu's gone away from that? Like, just like the only gyms that I can think of, and granted, I don't have a fair like sample size of this, but the only gyms I can think of that like teach combatives like
Yeah.
are like Krav Maga bullshit and like Gracie.
Gracie,
gyms.
yeah.
Like you
The,
go to
the original Gracie,
Yeah.
whatever it's called,
Yeah.
Gracie University, no?
whatever the one down in Torrance. I know that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
teach
yeah.
that shit
The
there.
yellow thing. Yes.
Yeah.
They teach self-defense type S.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
But
do.
like,
I mean,
I think that there's been such a move, and obviously, like the marketing of jujitsu just changed. Like people do jujitsu to do jujitsu now, and I think that there's a lot of like the myth of like jujitsu is how like 100-pound man beats a 500-pound bodybuilder. I like to think that we're moving away from that bullshit because physics plays a role and technique can only do so much. But I don't know. I don't think that. I think like what gets people into classes now is like the sports jiu-jitsu. Like people who want to fight do MMA, and people who want to fucking roll around with their bros do jiu-jitsu.
I used to teach that 11 o'clock MMA class.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember there was a lot of new people coming all the time to try the class and all that stuff. And that was the first class they would try. Like
The
they would,
MMA,
yeah, they wouldn't go to like Muay Thai. People with zero experience in combat sports.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go to Muay Thai. They wouldn't go to Jiu-Jitsu. But they would come to MMA, which is like kind of like
that-
very kind of dumb because
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
the
think about it,
opposite, 'cause
because
you have to
it's
have
the opposite,
both,
yeah.
right? With the
So
two as
you
opposed
would
to
think
one
you got to
skill.
start somewhere,
Yeah,
and then maybe go
right.
to the ground, or maybe start with the ground, then go
Yeah.
to striking, whatever the case. But to start in a class that's
Mixed. right?
mixing everything,
Yeah.
that
has
requires you to
several
have
components.
a little bit of skill here,
Yeah,
and a little bit of
yeah,
skill there
right.
in order to
Oh, that's
combine those.
interesting, yeah.
And it was like it's
weird.
really hard to teach too because
Oh, that's right. They don't even have the foundation of striking,
no, because
right?
what-
Or the roll.
how are you
yeah.
gonna teach at like
The one advantage to that is like having gone from boxing to Muay Thai
Yeah.
to jiu-jitsu, like there's fundamentals you do in boxing that if you do in Muay Thai, you're fucked, right? And then there's fundamentals in Muay Thai, just like the clinch alone. Like somebody gets like,
Yeah.
collar ties on you want to
Yeah.
get your hips in tight and shit. And like you do that in jiu-jitsu, you're going for a fucking ride most of the time, right? So there's even in like the transition from striking to grappling, there's a lot of like fundamentals that are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's why GSP was so good, because he was able to bridge,
Yeah.
you know, the martial arts with his takedowns. He was able to, and again, he was doing this double leg takedown that Danaher calls the GSP takedown, and now people do it. I mean, it's probably been done before too, but it's so much unlike a wrestling takedown, because you take the double with your head on this side and then you end up taking him this way instead of going that way, if that makes sense. So if my head is on this side, his body here, I'll take him that way. With the double, he would go the other way. Obviously, his arms are doing something else, but and you'll say that's the wrong technique, like any wrestler would see it. So I was like, shit, that's wrong. But
Even if
it's
we go,
also
sorry,
Yeah,
not
no,
to
no.
cut you off, but even going from like wrestling to jiu-jitsu, how many times do you see a fucking wrestler come in and they're great at fucking pinning you, but you're gonna guillotine them 10,000 fucking times?
Yeah, and it has to be adjusted. Wrestling for wrestling is different than wrestling for jiu-jitsu. That's reflected in the posture. That's reflected in the
Right.
like
Certain body movements.
yeah,
Or certain,
you can get double leg much easier in jiu-jitsu or in MMA. Even easier in MMA because people have their hands
Hands
up
up.
to a certain extent, right?
In a taller
Right.
posture, they're not.
On the other hand, you're at a little bit of a farther distance in MMA, so you can see
Yeah.
it coming a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So it has its trade-offs, but that bridge between the martial arts, between the standing and the ground, is super important in MMA, which only made it so much harder to explain to new people, because they're like, I mean, I'll punch, then I'll kick, and then I'll take him down, and then show me how to do a submission. Like, bro, you're so fucking removed from that.
So first,
far-fetched, man.
just keep your hands
I'll
here.
be here.
Right?
And then he
punch you
goes
like
to
this,
punch, and he's like,
Ew.
I sometimes feel like just pulling the pads. Like,
It's like,
I'm getting out. But like,
punches, like,
when he punches, he takes your shoulder with him, because you know, it just pushes it. And it's hard to teach.
Yeah, that's right,
Like,
'cause there's so
you
many concepts,
Start with that.
right?
Let's figure this first, and it's
Right,
gonna be
right,
a boring first
right.
class. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a boring second class.
Yeah.
But I know that you also have a week free trial, and it makes you want to
Right.
rush into things.
Oh.
And that's the other
try
thing.
that.
That's the other thing. How many times people try to rush through all the classes? I hear that all the time. Oh, I'm trying to take as many classes as possible. This is like talking about a 20-year-old kid trying to take as many classes as possible this trial week. I want to see what I like. And then you fucking don't see him again because he got injured on the 5th day.
Yeah.
So often.
Or even sometimes on the first, the
Oh
second.
yeah, on the
If
first,
you
second
try,
day. Yeah, so
yes.
often, man.
Yeah.
So often. And but I was gonna ask you, since you mentioned boxing, what do you think is maybe Sasha can chip in on that. What would you say if you were a boxer? Would you have to fix besides your stance to fight Muay Thai or Dutch kickboxing?
Oh, that's interesting.
I think
Kickboxing in general.
stance is
Huge.
the first and foremost, the biggest thing. I think that at least the way that my style of boxing translated better to kickboxing and Muay Thai, because I kept a high guard. I never played like a Philly shell or like.
Okay, I was going to ask if you did the
I
Philly shell,
I kept like a
right?
super high guard. I
Right.
always kept a high guard.
Yeah.
I never played peekaboo, even though I probably would have liked it, or used peekaboo. But I think that the stance is like, bro, you are just so fucking open to leg
for
kicks.
Sure.
And
Oh, that's what I was going to
boxing.
say with boxing, because they're square, right?
Remember
Just
we were
chop the
talking
shit out
about
of
it,
their
yeah.
legs.
The range.
That was proven already with
Yeah.
Randy Couture and
Yeah.
what's his name? James
Was
Toney
it?
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. What
Yeah, I
happened?
mean, yeah.
in UFC. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is 20 fucking something years
Yeah,
ago.
when
Yeah,
Tony could
before
still,
you were born, probably.
Yeah, I wish.
So, I mean, I think stance is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, like a lot is going to translate, and that's why, like, so my coach is a guy named Charles Bissett. His coach was this guy named Rob Kamen. If you are
Yeah,
into
yeah,
Dutch
Rob Kamen,
kickboxing
I
or
forgot you
Muay
did
Thai,
Dutch kickboxing, right? Yeah.
Rob Kamen is a fucking legend. Charles Bissett's a fucking legend too. But Rob Kamen is like the fucking man. And the reason that I think Dutch kickboxing guys like Ramon Deckers and Rob Kamen, Ernesto Hoost, and all those guys were so good is because Western boxing does have a massive advantage when it comes to punches over the Thais.
yeah,
And one good thing that Western boxing does that the Thais, in my experience, limited experience, it's not like I'm a fucking Lupini fucking stadium champ or anything, but as a hobbyist who's watched a lot of fucking fights and is
And you've been there. You've trained in Thailand.
trained in
so
Thailand,
yeah,
shit,
it's-
fucking, I'm a tourist, you know.
Yeah, but still,
some
you trained
trainers back in the day, yeah.
You have experience in both, so you
Yeah.
can tell.
Is that like the Thais have a. I think it's changing now. When you watch a lot of 1FC shit, it's definitely changing with some of the modern Muay Thai fighters. But for a long time, the Thais emphasized like single strike power.
Yeah,
and maybe
that's
like
right.
one or
setting
two
in.
combos.
Yeah, but really.
And when you
conjure
watch
it.
like fucking Ramon Deckers, dude,
Oh, he's beast.
just like the volume,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like or fucking
You see that?
fucking he used to fight in 1FC. He's gypsy dude from the Netherlands.
Oh, I know you're talking about. I forget his name.
Nicky Holskin. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you
Oh my
watch
God.
Nicky Holskin, dude, like that is just a beauty, bro. Like how
he's
he
so good.
fucking he has this tempo where it's like dun dun whack, dun dun
Yeah.
dun whack,
Yeah.
dun 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 whack, and like. So that rhythm that it translates really well to Muay Thai because I don't think that they are used to that. Now on the flip
No,
side,
Muay Thai is like bam,
yeah,
bam,
Yeah, it's explosive.
yeah,
shots.
and then,
Yeah,
and then it goes
that's
bam,
what
and then bam, and then bam,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
the
bam,
exchange.
and on the flip side, like Dutch kickboxers and kickboxing in general, because of like even K1 rules and kickboxing rules, you know, a 3-second clinch, you couldn't really ever develop a fucking clinch. If you could hold on, get double unders and a body lock, wait 3 seconds, you'd be separated.
That's
and,
a-
Yeah,
and
they,
then, like,
they break the
in-
clinch,
And
right?
in boxing as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
in boxing as
Oh,
well,
yeah, that they
one
cut
guy
it
holds
off
on to you
early.
and you're going like this and trying to fucking hit him in the ribs, but hey, I'm not holding him, so
Yeah.
I'm fucking trying to hit. Yeah, he's holding me, you know. So it's like when I was having this online debate with somebody recently.
Let me check the camera. Keep talking.
I was having this online debate recently with somebody. They fucking posted on not Jordan Burroughs. Who's a fucking UFC fighter, white dude?
Bo Nickel?
Bo Nickel, thank you. Bo Nickel posted some shit about how he would give $100,000 to any jiu-jitsu guy.
10,000. The other day. Just the other day.
Yeah, just the other day.
You-
My
you-
bad.
you-
I got bad memory. I've been hitting the head a lot, okay? So, $10,000 to any jiu-jitsu guy who could do well in like an NCAA fucking tournament. But has
in
no
a wrestling match against D1 wrestler.
yeah,
In a wrestling
but
match. so
must not have any jiu-jitsu
Any
experience.
college-
Sorry,
No.
any wrestling experience.
Wrestling experience.
Any wrestling experience.
Oh, that's
so
right,
like
that's right.
even high school, even junior
That
high, like
counts
what the
too.
fuck? Like I mean, jiu-jitsu has some wrestling in it. So what are we? What?
Yeah.
And never minding that. Like when you have a rule set,
Yeah.
the techniques are going to develop around the rule set.
Yeah.
And the techniques are going to be effective in that rule set. Boxing, you see that. Muay Thai, you see that. Dutch kickboxing, you see that. Jiu-jitsu, you see that. Like a fucking X-guard is effective because you can't get punched in the fucking face.
Yep.
I mean, for
Off-
other reasons too, you can
off-balancing,
off-balance
yeah.
them and shit. But like if a guy's got a good base, you're gonna be getting punched in the face a lot.
Yeah.
There's positions in jiu like if you let somebody pass your guard, like the B team guys are doing this a lot, where like their guard's getting past and they immediately go to turtle. That might be good if you immediately stand up in MMA.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're lazy like me and you like just to hang out in
No,
turtle,
most jiu-jitsu, that's a jiu-jitsu thing. You
Yeah.
know, you stay in turtle and
and you're gonna
it's
get
like,
fucking
yeah.
punched in the fucking head. So you may have not gotten scored on, but now you're gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So like all combat sports, this is going back to like just walk away. It's not worth it. All combat sports are a game. We have a rule set and we are playing by that rule set, and it is a game. And techniques are effective in that game that may not be good in another game because that other game has a different set of rules.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Have you ever read about history of boxing? Like I'm not talking about boxing in the ancient Greek times, but
You're welcome, by the way, for inventing boxing.
Oh.
My people. You're welcome.
and wrestling.
And wrestling. But we did it naked. We did it better.
Yes.
You still do it, Nick.
Just because I wear Valley Tudo shorts and open mat doesn't mean I'm naked,
We
okay?
all were like,
You wear
see
Valetudo
Mikey?
shorts
Like,
with a cup, but a soft one. Because if you wear a hard cup, you can tell, right? But a soft one,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like kind of rubbery. Yeah, it kind of molds. And it's like, whoa. It's like, yeah. But the modern boxing, and when I say modern, I mean like in the past few centuries, it was no time limit.
Yeah, I know.
No time
Yeah.
limit.
no time limit.
No time limit.
Dirty
No,
boxing.
no round limit. They would have time limit.
They would
but
have
no-
time limit,
but
but
no
no
round,
round.
no
round
round
limit.
limit.
Yeah. So like
That's right.
Yeah, they would have horsehair fucking boxing gloves. So I mean, some people still use horsehair boxing gloves to this day, but they were not packed nearly as well. And you can watch videos of like turn of the century, like early 19 teens boxing matches that would go to like the 95th round.
Yeah.
And
What?
the 95th round, because the boxing gloves were such bullshit that
Yeah.
nobody was punching each other in the head
No.
because they didn't want to break their hand.
Hey.
So it was a lot of body shots.
Oh, and so it lasts.
They
And
could
if you
also,
watch their
they
guard,
could also
like,
pick
they're like this.
they could
They're like meeting with the fucking head.
They could pick up and slam
Yeah.
too. There was
Yeah.
like
Oh, they can slam too?
yeah, it was
no
like
kidding.
It was, I don't think they could ground and pound, but they could
Okay.
pick you up and slam you or something like this.
Oh.
They would dirty boxing.
Oh yeah,
Dirty
yeah, or
boxing
in
was
pocket boxing.
Yeah, I mean hockey players. do it.
Like but like have you seen like Leftway? I know it
Yeah,
got
yeah.
popular.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Oh wait, that's
They
way.
use
Is that the head?
rope.
It's not Cambodian. It's fucking
What is it?
Burmese boxing.
Yeah, that's
Burmese,
right. And
Burmese boxing. So
Use your
it's
head,
It's
yeah.
like Muay Thai, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of with
your
headbutts.
big
Don't
headbutts,
ever
right?
tell somebody that does left way that it's like Muay Thai.
No, I'm saying
Because they will. It's like saying
do you mean
fucking
Like
kickboxing. Muay Thai is like kickboxing.
And then,
The Thais will be like, yo, shut the fuck up. A, B, fuck you.
Clinch the elbow.
so
but
it's-
with that
it's-
said, though, the headbutts are part
Headbutts.
of it. Okay, yeah, that's right.
You only win by knockout. You can get knocked out once, and if you can, as long as it's not the third round,
Yeah.
if you can get back up, you can keep fighting. So if you get knocked out twice, it's over. And no gloves.
they believe in
And-
second chances.
Yeah, they believe in second chance as long as it's not the third round. And if
Okay,
if you
yeah.
don't win by knockout, it's a draw. So there's no fucking
Really? No
So-
kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
and you can throw. You can do
They
throws.
have incentives to knock out.
Yeah, but if you watch like fucking that Leduc guy who got like super popular because he was on like fucking Joe Rogan and shit.
Yeah, I think I remember. I haven't watched him, but I remember.
If you watch
seeing
like him like King Pads, he's literally fucking headbutting.
Oh, wow.
And if you watch how they clinch, it's different than a lot of like the Thai setups. Like a lot of Thais like. My clinch isn't like this. It's just not the way that I taught. But a lot of Thais will clinch like they'll get the,
Like the-
collar tie
yeah.
and on the outside, the bicep on the
Right,
outside.
and then they're holding.
and they're holding like this.
Yeah.
I always hold on the inside.
Yeah.
I always hold because I feel like you
to
can
control, like,
you
steering
can, yeah,
the
you
wheel,
can.
kinda.
It's like inside position.
Inside
Yeah.
position.
Right. I just feel like that's better. And you'll see the guys who do left way always fighting for that fucking inside position because that headbutt's gonna come in.
Yeah.
Right. And if you like
yeah,
give that
exactly.
space,
Oh,
the fucking
right.
headbutt's.
No
So it's like
kidding.
the rules dictate the style.
Yes.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? If you could fucking headbutt in jujitsu, like
Yo.
close guard, bro.
Oh, that's right, right there.
By the way, it used to be Valetudo. It was Valetudo was headbutts were allowed.
Really? In
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu?
Dude,
No,
I think
no,
in the early
Valetudo, not
yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Dude, in
It's
the
like
early
early days of
UFC,
MMA.
yeah, in the early UFC, there's that fucking homeboy getting.
Were they able to headbutt?
They
in
have
there?
groin strikes, bro.
They had groin strikes.
Remember
but I
that
don't-
dude that
did they
got
have
his
headbutts though? I don't think so.
Maybe not.
They couldn't bite and they couldn't,
They couldn't bite.
but they could pull hair.
They could pull hair too.
Remember Kimo?
Yeah.
He pulled his fucking.
dude,
Royce
one guy-
Gracie of all people.
One guy got
Your
a
jiu-jitsu guy.
crucifix,
Yeah.
and
Oh my God,
And
that was
just
the big.
fucking-
Wait, what happened?
a dude got. If I remember this correctly, I think the position was like he got a guy in a crucifix, but it was like
It was a-
cross body.
Yes.
And he had access to the guy's groin. I could be getting this position wrong, but I just have it seared into my brain. A guy pummeling another
Yeah,
dude's
there was-
genitals.
Well, there was the knockout with the crucifix where he had him in a crucifix and he started
Yeah.
beating him, and it was like that was like camera perfect because the cameras were not all over the place like
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Now they have like 3 or 4 cameras around the octagon,
Yeah.
but before there was like 1 camera, maybe 2, and this guy was like face towards the camera, like it was a perfect fucking angle,
Yeah.
getting like crucifixed.
Whoa.
Like he got knocked out with elbows or hammer fist or something.
Yeah.
But I remember the one you're talking about. But that was
It was the guy from. Wasn't it Odd Job from?
don't hold it. I'm kidding. We're talking MMA here.
Wasn't it? It was Odd Job from fucking James Bond. Wasn't it not Odd Job from James Bond? Didn't he fight in the UFC?
Yeah.
And didn't he go to prison for raping
No,
somebody?
that's not James Bond. That's from fucking.
Austin
Austin Powers.
No
one. Yeah,
Not Odd Job. What's his name?
Yeah,
Side gig or some shit.
Yes, he did he did the guy with the hat. He's the Asian guy that went to prison for murder and then he murdered somebody there.
Yeah. Austin Powers Odd Job. I gotta look this up.
Yeah, this guy he fought. He had one fight in the UFC. He lost, but
I cannot pronounce that last name. Sorry, buddy.
Wait,
Joseph Hyungmin Son.
Don't look at me. I didn't even live a wallet down my leg. He's gonna point to me like fucking no.
Oh yeah, so felony vandalism, torture, voluntary
Young
manslaughter.
Min Son. Yeah, South Korean. Yeah. Oh, it's South Korean born.
I think I think he fought in the UFC. Yeah, UFC and K1.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fucking steel trap, dude.
I tell you. I watched it not too long ago, like months ago. I rewatched the first UFCs. So I remember the one you were talking about, but I can't quite remember. But it was crazy, man. It was literally crazy. But they couldn't headbutt. But there was before the UFC, there was other Vale Tudo, like John Lewis used to. Remember John Lewis?
Yeah.
He used to fight that. He's one of the guys that Dana White and the Fertitta brothers went to train jiu-jitsu first with.
Yeah.
He's the one who gave them the first lessons. He was he's like an OG American black belt, and I wonder where he got his black belt. I don't even know, but he was in Vale Tudo, and I remember he was in those kind of matches. But Hickson against the what's the black guy, the big black guy that's a very popular fight in Brazil. That was with headbutts and shit.
Yeah.
There was kidney shots, like from close guard.
From behind.
Yeah. That's not allowed anymore.
No.
Because he was pissing blood after that, from what I heard.
Dude, what about? Have you ever seen Choke? I think it's called Choke.
Choke, yeah.
Choke. Dude,
It's a-
like this
like a
is,
documentary.
we got involved in jiu-jitsu in a time where like there was still that very culty.
Yeah.
It's still around.
Very
We think so. This gym doesn't have the fucking vibe, but there's a lot of gyms that are fucking cults, bro.
Oh, in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah, but not just like who your head instructor is.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, he's the man. I love him. I'm gonna name my kids after him. Shit like that, like weird
For real,
shit.
Yeah, like-
people
Yeah.
will do that. Like,
Really? Actually,
People
not
fucking take
exaggerating.
life advice from their
Real.
fucking jujitsu coach. I love Gustavo. I will listen to him for many things, but I'm not gonna take legal advice from him. A lot of people would take legal advice from their fucking jujitsu coach,
Yep.
right? But like,
I do volunteer medical and legal advice in my morning
Start
classes,
right there.
but I start with a disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, but I think you should
And then
do this and
to end
this.
with, I don't know though.
but like in 2016, I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad as I think it was probably before we got in jiu-jitsu. But
culty.
like, bro,
Yeah.
like the Gracies, and like all respect in the world to the fucking Gracies. I had Helio Gracie on my fucking rash guard today. But there was a weird fucking cult where it was like fucking Helio Gracie invented leverage. That man invented, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's the
Totally.
The
weirdest
God status where they really
Totally, yes.
fucking
What?
God status. And like, I'm so happy that
It's
fucking,
not.
Dude, I think they should get rid of fucking belts in jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Like, I think that has too much of a fucking culty status. The fact that the world or the Thai Muay Thai Council, like a Thai government body that sanctions Muay Thai, has now embraced a belt system from Muay Thai.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that?
Fuck it. I mean, look.
I don't know
It's not
how
my
old this
culture.
is, but-
I don't have a right to fucking talk about what they should or should not do, but I'm going to anyway.
There we go.
What I respect about boxing, what I respected about Muay Thai, what I respect about wrestling is like the only belt that matters is gold. If you come in here and you're fucking good, people know you're good.
Right.
For example, Addison has been training less time than I have. Back when he was a lower belt than I was, I would still be like, yo, how the fuck do you do that? Like, because he knew shit that I didn't fucking know.
Right.
Andre, who is a white belt, who taps fucking black belts because he's a savage of a man, is a white belt. You mean to tell me this man who can tap competition black belts is a white belt? Fuck that. That's like, okay, he may not be able to explain to you the intricacies of fucking De La Hiva, but this man has like demonstrated his ability to apply his grappling in a very effective way. So like, belts might get people to keep coming back to fucking strip mall karate, but like at some point I think that like this is like a
irrelevant. No, not irrelevant. It's not the right word, but
I think it should be relevant, honestly. Like, bro, I don't know. I think belts are bullshit, but who am I to say?
There is the other thing though. In a competition, you gotta match up with somebody. How do you know who you're gonna match up against? No, how do you know who the organizers are gonna match up against?
Fair point.
There should be some kind of
that's your like, education or someone's
ranking, if you will.
A ranking, the system, right?
Chess has ranking.
Yeah.
And they don't have belts, but they have ranking.
So I played another sport professionally for.
Which one? Oh.
It's a very obscure sport, and when I say it, people think I was in a militia. I was not in a militia. Okay, I was not in a militia. It's even a more obscure sport than fucking jiu-jitsu. I played professional paintball for all of like 2 seasons.
No way! You're talking about? Actually?
Yeah, I played.
I played paintball, not professionally, but
I have never done play.
It was very fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
One of my best friends, like, we're playing a tournament down in fucking Mexico in December.
Oh.
But I don't play pro anymore. I haven't in many, many years. And we were not the best pro team when we did play pro, but we made it there ourselves. We worked our way up from the lowest division, which is, I think, impressive in itself, but whatever. In any event, the way that, like, other sports do it is, like, it'd be hard to do this with jiu-jitsu, granted. But, like, the prestige is always in the highest belts. Right?
Yeah.
It's always in the highest belts. So you can just have people sign up for like Naga or Jiu-Jitsu World League, where they do like beginner, intermediate,
advanced.
And then you can have like in Jiu-Jitsu they had, or in paintball they had like a point system. Depending on how many tournaments you played, your ranking or your placement in it, you would earn X amount of points. And once you hit
like with chess, kind of like
like it's like a philo, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Philo?
I can't remember what it's called.
Philo?
Something like
some
that.
shit,
Yes.
whatever. Yeah. I'm dumb. But when you hit like a certain threshold of like, you've either won like 2 tournaments or you've done like 10, dude. Like, so you have experience. You've been training for X number of years now. You can no longer be beginner. You are intermediate. And there's an incentive for people to sign up for the advanced, because it's like, bro, I'm not going to go fucking win a beginner's tournament. Granted, there will be sandbaggers that do that. Yeah. There's sandbaggers in other sports. There's sandbaggers in fucking jiu-jitsu. But, we don't need to reinvent jiu-jitsu just because I think belts don't exist. No,
you're right. I mean, I think that there should be some kind of ranking system. Whether it's belts or not, it's fine. Whatever they decide to do. But to your point about Muay Thai, around 2015, I was training in this Muay Thai gym in North Hollywood. And they had.
You remember?
Remember
what gym?
Muay Thai MTA, Muay Thai Academy.
So they had belt system.
Very generic.
Yeah, yes. It's a really like Brazilian and American adaptation to Muay Thai.
The owner was like an old Thai guy.
So that's surprising.
Yeah.
Did they wear it on their fucking their?
Oh
their
yeah,
arms?
did they wear
Can't
that?
remember how. Yes.
So. Look, if I'm wrong about this, guys, please don't fucking cancel me. But
nobody can cancel you for that.
It's for everything else.
Might throw this like an additional charge.
What I've been told about, it's not the Mong Kong, because the Mong Kong's the headpiece.
The headpiece.
I can't remember the name of the armbands, but the armbands date back to like the old Siam Empire, back when they were like beefing with the Khmer and shit. Like, so this would have been like 12th, 13th century. Thai warriors, Siam warriors would go into battle with a piece of their mother's clothing tied around.
I read about
tied,
that.
tied around their
that's
arms
right.
for good luck.
Yeah.
So that's where that
Right.
comes from. Like in Thailand, that's
Yeah.
like the dude's mom's fucking skirt. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right,
So
right.
like
So
when we're here,
yeah.
it's a very American. Like, hey, we'll make that the rank system. And the Mong Kong is like it's more of a spiritual thing. Like I think we used to have one in the gym here somewhere.
I thought it was, I think, in the back or something, no?
It should be like in the highest place in the gym and shit. Can't go under the ropes with it and shit. But you know, like it's part of the beauty of the melting pot of America is like I think it's beauty. We see parts of one aspect and we just kind of like Americanize it, or we adopt it and blend it with like another culture like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We took Muay Thai and we gave it a belt system like Japanese fucking martial arts, you know. But
And then we take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and call it American Jiu-Jitsu.
yeah, and we get rid of the rank system and fucking wear spandex.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
With funny caricatures on it.
I mean, like, and here's the other
Cheetah
thing,
print
right?
and all
Like,
that good stuff. You're like,
and like J-Rod and was that time? We done?
No, it's I get that every time at midnight. Every day at midnight, yeah.
So J-Rod and like a lot of those guys that are
He's a purple belt now.
Yeah, no, which is embarrassing because he would whoop my fucking ass. But that's what I'm saying. Like that, you're telling me that man's a purple belt, and you're telling me I'm a purple belt.
There is...
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
Like so, in any way you cut it, I may have like certain areas of knowledge that he does not have, right? But I guarantee you, he has way more areas of knowledge that I don't have.
Yes, I understand.
And his ability to apply those skills are so much more effective. But you mean to tell me and him are the same rank?
Yes. First of all,
answer that.
first of all,
It is a fact. It is a fact.
So I do need to get it that.
But it's arbitrary. It's arbitrary.
It's arbitrary, but I'll give you an explanation to it. There are, and it's not just purple belts. There are black belts and then there are black belts, and here's the thing. And Gustavo says that if you're a competitor, you're probably always gonna be playing your A game. That's what differentiates Gordon Ryan, specifically Gordon Ryan, from a lot of other competitor black belts at his level competitor. He doesn't just play his A game. Every 6 months or so, he reinvents himself. He doesn't reinvent the wheel, but he reinvents himself. He adds something new. He tries to hit it
Competition.
not in competition, but in training. You know, and he's training against guys that are great. You know?
Yeah.
And then he goes out there and he proves it. Like he was working on triangles, then he goes and hits triangles, you know, here and there. He was working on arm bars. He gets arm bars. So the thing is that he would. That's why he shied away from heel hooks for a while. You know, from getting heel hooks in matches. He did it in ADCC because he wanted to finish the matches fast. But in super fights, he didn't. So very few competition black belts are like that.
Yeah.
And they play their A game. So if your A game is knee cut, let's say gi situation, just for the ease.
I don't wear pajamas, sir.
You take the collar and sleeve, you knee cut, you go, you choke the guy, and that's your A move. And this works for you, and it's worked on so many times, so many matches. You've won medals like that. You're not very likely to change that because you're a competitor and your main goal is to bring medals home.
and to win, right? Or,
To win, yeah, to bring medals home. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that you might know how to do a good armbar,
Right.
but it's not your A game, and you're less likely to polish your armbar in competition style than you are to continue doing what you're doing.
Right.
So this guy, J-Rod, is gonna kill you at what he does because he's a competition. He's a competitor, right? He's a competition purple belt. In this case, purple belt. I mean, he beats black belts and shit. So
That's what I'm saying.
but yes, but he's good at what he does, and he does it like to the point of
Near perfection.
silver medal.
Yeah.
Silver medal in ADCC. But with that being said, you, for the level that you're at, you could still be a purple belt. You're I don't want to say casual because nowadays it has a different connotation. But
I'm very
but you are a hobbyist. Yes,
Yeah.
you're a hobbyist.
Yeah.
First of all, you work 9 to 5 or whatever your schedule is.
I'm a county employee, sir. So
So you don't work.
no, I work very hard.
Really
very hard. Okay, too hard. I need a raise. I need a promotion.
Yes,
Heard it
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Among other things, but more vacation time. But the thing is that you do have a job. You like to go on vacations, right? Like not after you compete, but when you feel like it,
Yeah.
when the county gives you the days, So your goals are completely different. With that being said, you've trained jiu-jitsu for a certain amount of time. You've put in the hours, you've put in the effort, you're teaching now. There's absolutely no reason for you not to be purple belt. When you compare yourself to J-Rod, you're a different type of person. you
Yeah,
know?
but so then what you're saying is that the belt is so amorphous, so formless that it has no set definition. So it is extremely arbitrary.
It's extremely
Yeah.
arbitrary.
So then
It does
what
not
the
have a
fuck is the
definition.
difference between a purple belt and a blue belt and a brown belt and a
Well-
I think like there is a threshold where it's like this guy has not mastered jiu-jitsu because I think like all things in life you cannot master it. You cannot master jiu-jitsu, you can't
Yeah.
master the practice of law, you can't master anything. There's always places to improve. But you've reached a threshold where like you can be considered like somebody who can educate even more advanced people.
Of course, of course.
But everything below that, it's just an arbitrary distinction.
It's arbitrary,
Oh, okay, so there's a certain level
but
where
think of it
there's
this way.
difference
Think of it
between-
this way. What do you think are the odds that if you were, for example, all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna get in shape. No offense. I'm gonna get in shape. I'm going to shred. I'm gonna get my cardio up to par, and I'm gonna go and compete the trials, the ADCC trials. Then I'm gonna win. Then I'm gonna go to ADCC and I'm gonna go up against J-Rod. Since we're both purple belts, I should be expected to do well against him. We're in the same weight class and all that, right? You would say. But the thing is that what are the odds that you and him are actually going to meet in an actual match? There's zero probably, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
so
not
I
because you're
wouldn't
not a
make it. Because
competitor.
I wouldn't make it 2 trials.
But yes, but there is. That's why they say competition. That's why they say competition belt.
Yeah,
and
versus-
versus a hobbyist
Yeah.
belt.
Okay, yeah.
I can assure you that a blue belt competitor, blue belt who just got his blue belt, will probably kill me. Maybe not submit me. Will probably kill me in a point match. Points match. Will probably blow me out
But
20
then
to nothing.
don't you
Probably
think? Then I think that
like a serious
unless-
competitor.
Yeah.
I think that that's a problem with sandbagging in jiu-jitsu. Is that I think coaches, not Gustavo necessarily, but a lot of coaches hold back promotions for people who compete, so to give them better opportunities to win at lower belts.
For sure.
So that's a problem with sandbagging in jiu-jitsu that will
That's a
always
thing.
be an issue. So belts are kind of useless there. But then also at some point, like Gustavo, right? Gustavo he's in his 40s now.
Yes.
Right? He's got to be like
Late 40, almost 50. Yeah.
okay. I mean, he's in fucking great
49,
shape.
yeah.
He's in fucking great shape.
He's
But
got to be in a
been-
better shape than he was a few years ago.
That's true.
Crazy.
But having rolled with that guy as many times as I fucking rolled with him, he is fucking hard. He is that. Even though he's not competing anymore and he's damn near half a century old, Gustavo, he still will fucking piece up anybody in this gym except for maybe like Kyle, right? Like
Oh, Kyle's a black belt, I forgot.
Kyle's a black belt,
Yeah,
and
that's
he's fucking strong as shit, and he's technical as shit, and he's fucking like he competes and he trains hard. So like Kyle's probably gonna give Gustavo the best run for the money. So like Gustavo's depth of knowledge, and I know I just said jiu-jitsu is not culty, but now it sounds like I'm fucking idolizing this guy. He is dope.
No,
okay?
it's
but
it is what it is.
like his belt has meaning, right? Yeah. He's not competing anymore, but he can still fucking like piece up our competition blue belts, our competition purple belts. I don't think we have any competition brown belts here, but like people who actually go out there and compete and fucking try.
Yeah.
So if I'm a purple belt getting worked by a competition blue belt, I'm either a blue belt or that kid's a purple belt.
No,
there can't be different definitions.
No, you're either a competitor or you're not. And you're talking about Gustavo, but
then we need like a purple belt with like a line through it. There needs to be like, you know what I'm saying? If we're gonna have distinctions, we need distinctions.
Listen to this, Gustavo. I understand what you're saying. Gustavo has been a black belt longer than he has been a colored belt before that. In other words, he's been a black belt now since 20, I think. He's been like 12, 13 years a black belt, whereas he got his black belt before he trained 12 years altogether. So in other words...
And he took like a lot of time off, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he competed. First of all, he competed until pretty much the time I started training with him.
My first jiu-jitsu class was the weekend after his last tournament.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And the only reason I know that is because I have a vivid memory of him.
What month did you start?
June 2016.
Oh, I started in
18.
I started in September.
16,
yeah.
yeah.
I started in September. That's why I thought that so he did the Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds.
That was the Gi Worlds.
Gi Worlds.
Yes. Okay.
And he the only reason I know that is because I remember everybody was weighing themselves afterwards, and he's like, "Holy shit, I've gained like 15 pounds in 1 week," and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like. Because the only other people I've ever seen obsessed with their weight as much as fucking jiu-jitsu guys are fucking boxers. You know? People who are competing.
Yeah. To weigh.
Did Gustavo, is that the one where he got that big dude?
And he cheated? And Gustavo cheated?
I don't remember how he
Wait,
cheated.
what?
Yeah, dude, it's funny as shit. He has a breakdown on his...
He does have a breakdown. That's the match, right? That's his last match?
Yeah.
He's a breakdown of his
He has
match?
It's the absolute
He was
division.
in the absolute division. He's going against this guy who's like 10 million pounds. He's fucking...
It's like 300 something.
He's
No
spherical.
way.
Like, you see the teardrop bag?
Yeah.
Imagine if
He
you
looked
just
like
went
that.
like that. If you
No
just stretches out on fucking photos.
Yeah.
The guy was a massive yoga
He
ball.
was in mount and you couldn't see Gustavo underneath.
So Gustavo
Big guy.
Gustavo ends up
What?
getting... He ends up either getting X guard or
have to
single
watch that
X
match,
guard,
maybe.
or he gets that stupid reversal from mount where like you hold the ankle and you get your knee in the pit of their knee and you extend. He did something where he had to hold the guy's ankle. I can't remember exactly what. And he grabbed the inside of the gi instead of the outside of the gi. And in this breakdown, Gustavo goes, "So I tried to cheat here. I was grabbing the inside of the gi. I was hoping nobody noticed. But the guy noticed and he reset us, and I was like, oh, that's funny."
He called it out, too. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta get some handicap against people like that. Like those big people, man, you need something.
300 pounds, though.
It was probably more than 300, but it's from what I saw. It's like, you see that, who was it? Was it Mikey Musmeti or somebody that went against that 300 something pound? No, fucking, Demetrius Johnson, did you see this?
Oh, yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
That was good.
I met Mikey Musumeci in Austin once, in the airport of Austin. I was out there for a paintball tournament. I walked by him, and I made like all my buddies watch fucking Who's Number One like the night before. It was during the Pandy, and I was like, "Holy shit, Mikey!" And like we start talking and shit, and I remember all my friends being like, "Wait, that's the guy that we watched fucking fight last night or compete last night?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, homie's shorter than me. He's tiny,
Wow.
tiny."
How much do you think he weighed?
He's like
He's a small guy?
He's probably like 140, dude.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
Probably, yeah.
most.
but-
he's maybe one. Yeah, he's a small.
He's a small
dude.
guy, though.
And all my friends were like, "Yo,
And he's disproportionate.
What do you mean?
yeah."
His arms are really long. His
Really
legs
long.
are not that long.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of,
And he's just
or-
like the most unassuming human being you'll ever see,
Yeah.
and he will fucking murder people.
he's like the epitome of that meme that this is the guy that kills you.
Yeah, dude. I like when
like that guy?
when I talk to people about like the culture of jiu-jitsu, I'm like, there's really just 3 types of people in jiu-jitsu.
Ooh, this is fun. Yeah, do it.
There's like the 10th planet guys, who's
Yeah.
like the fucking Earth is flat. 9/11's an inside job, which is true. Fucking, but like all birds aren't real. You know what I'm saying? The coronavirus was a hoax, like all that shit. You have those people, right? And usually with those people are the stoners. Like usually that's where those people gravitate towards. You have cops or the cop-esque people who are like, they maybe played high school football.
Okay.
They're always a white belt, always a fucking white belt. And they come in here and they go 100% and they gas out after the first 45 seconds. And then they wonder why they keep getting submitted by people half their size. Yeah. But they're always like that cop mentality, right? Or they are actually cops. And then you have people in IT who may be on the spectrum. You maybe on the spectrum. They may not be on the spectrum, but they definitely are in IT for some. And I don't know where I fit in on this.
I was going to ask you where you think that you fit.
I hope I'm not a cop. I hope I'm not a cop. I like to think I'm the 10th planet guy.
You just said that 9/11 was an inside joke.
I think I think this flat.
I think. Yeah. But
I do not have the hip dexterity to be 10th planet though.
You don't have to. You just swear.
I have the jiujitsu game of the cop and the mindset of a fucking 10th planet guy.
Yeah, can I fit?
Yeah, you're right. There's so many IT guys around here.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know. I don't know why, but it's like, what do you do? Engineer, software engineer, and stuff like this. So I know at least 2 in each class. Yep. It's amazing. Like
what?
you
Actually, IT.
IT
like,
people. Yeah, you come to every class and you ask everyone what they do. Like a class, 10 people class, not even bigger. 10 people class. At least 2 of them are in IT in some way or another. You know, it's crazy. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, 2 out of 10, but it's a big percentage.
It's big enough to be 1/3 of the demographic of jiu-jitsu, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if they're not in IT, they're IT-esque. Like I put Marcos in IT. You know Marcos Cronander?
Yeah.
I put him in IT.
Yeah. Something.
He may not work in IT, but he's got an IT vibe, and I mean that with love. Marcos.
He does.
What does the IT vibe?
He's like a nerd. Marcos is like a
Marciano's in IT.
Marciano's in IT.
Yeah.
Derek's in IT.
Derek. Does Derek?
Axel is an IT person. Does not work in IT, but he's an IT guy.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. Yeah.
Very analytical. Very Addison. Yeah. He's a fucking photographer, but really he's an IT guy, dude. Really, when you boil it down, he's a fucking IT guy. Okay. You know.
He is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, IT, the cop. What about the cops?
I mean, Steven. Steven's actually like a cop. And I love Steven. Even though I'm a criminal defense attorney, I love you, Steven. I love you, Steven.
So you're in the cop. Mike, would you ever become an attorney? I'm an attorney.
I am an attorney.
I didn't mean
even
that.
though I'm a public defender, I am actually a real attorney.
I actually meant a prosecutor.
No.
Like a district.
I could never be a district attorney. I could never be a judge. I would never do either job.
Would you go in the private sector?
No, I would not.
You would just stick with what you're doing?
I could not charge somebody money to do what I do. I think that if you're poor, your access to...
That's very noble.
Your access to quality representation should not be limited by how much money you have in the bank. I respect what DAs do. There's many DAs that I'm friends with. There's a lot of DAs that train jiu-jitsu. I'm actually trying to get them to fucking start an open mat with me, some of my supervisors, and a judge. But we'll see if we can actually do that.
It's going to be like, hey, remember?
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. We'll settle
give
it
my
here.
Guy that probation offer on breaking this shit. I respect
that deal we cut.
I respect what they do. I respect a lot of them. Some of them are very close friends of mine. But I just fundamentally could not do what they do. Ideologically, I would be unable to do that. If you in some perfect world, if you were like Mike, you are going to be the DA. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's see what we can do, right?
What's that?
Like the head of the office.
Oh.
Right? Or if you were like, hey, Mike.
Oh, the DA. I have VDA.
Yeah, the. Or if you were like, Mike, you can be a DA and you have complete autonomy. Then I would be able to do the job. But the problem, and this is just me speaking as an individual person, the problem with being a DA is that it is a bureaucratic job And even if you are trying to do the right thing, your supervisors may stop you from doing the right thing. And you can define the right thing however your personal ideology defines it, right? If it's, restorative justice, if it's a punitive justice, whatever your ideology is.
Doesn't that apply to you as well?
No. I have a singleness of purpose. The only thing I try to do is represent my clients to the best of my ability. I don't care about justice. I don't care about
that was my question, because you could think you would be wanting to do the right thing. So the right thing by definition are two different things for you and the DA. The DA, his right thing is justice served. For you, it's represent
zealously advocating for my client.
Yeah. Correct.
Period. End of story.
Correct. And if your client is guilty to their core, and you know that,
then I fight as hard as I would if he was innocent.
Most of the time they are, in any case. Most probably.
Not my clients. All my clients are wrongfully accused.
They are just
all of my clients,
not guilty until proven so, right?
And even when they're proven guilty, it's a wrongful conviction. It's an injustice.
That happens.
None of my clients have ever committed a crime. They're all angels.
That's true. I was just listening to a podcast and say that 90% of people in prison are convinced that they're wrongfully in prison, basically.
They're convinced that they're wrong?
They say that they are. Not whether they're convinced for themselves or not, but they're trying to convince other people. And it's funny because you're in an environment that is kind of like me here trying to convince everybody else that I'm a top dog in jiu-jitsu, but everybody else knows me and I know everybody else, and it's like we're just bullshitting each other here, but to your point, it's so you're saying that your goal is basically different from that of the DA, even though you're on the two sides of the same. I mean, obviously your goals are different. You're trying to defend and they're trying to prosecute, but it's a flip side of the same coin, but it's not. No, so
it's actually, I don't even think we're on the same coin.
That's what I said. It looks like it's the flip side of the coin, but it's not.
Then it's not. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yes, I agree with that. Because constitutionally, what a prosecutor must do is seek justice. Okay? Yeah. And what that means is they must represent the community, including my client. So they are faced with a very big philosophical question, which is, what is the right thing? And what the right thing is, might be probation for a guy who did something very violent because it's explainable. Maybe he had mental health issues, maybe he had a bad upbringing, maybe something triggered him, maybe the fucking guy deserved it. Maybe, right? That's a tough call to make, right? I do not envy their position because they have to struggle with what is justice. And now a lot of DAs don't struggle with it. They just try to win. And because they have most of the resources, because they have the trust of the community, and because they have a lot of witnesses that come in with a badge and are trained to testify and also have a lot of credibility with the community, they often win even when they should not be winning. Defense attorneys, be indigent defense or private defense, your constitutional obligation is to defend your client. Period. End of story. That's it. Full stop. So I don't care about justice. I have DAs telling me, you're a justice partner. I am not a justice partner. I do not care about justice. I care about my client. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm going to lie. That doesn't mean I'm going to cheat. That doesn't mean I'm going to steal. I'm going to act ethically. I'm going to act responsibly. I'm going to act professionally. But I'm going to make sure that what is being protected is my client's interest. Yeah. And everybody should have a lawyer like that, right? Because you have the government against you. You have LAPD.
With all their resources.
And you get one guy. You better hope that guy has that same fucking mentality. Or girl. Or woman. Or whatever, right? You better hope that attorney has that same dedication. Because it's David and Goliath, right?
Yeah.
So, that's why every time I come into jiu-jitsu, I just lay down and let everybody fucking pass me and shit. Because I'm so tired from fighting the good fight all day.
You're tired of fighting the big guns.
Yeah. I just come here and
You bring
He's
your,
just like,
he,
yeah, but he still
good job, good
he
job.
still fucks us up.
he
He
brings
plays
his-
there, but he still
he
fucks
brings
us
the
up.
small guns here because the big ones he left.
There you go.
No, that makes a lot more sense now that you said it. Yes. No, but I've always wondered, because my experience with legal system comes mostly from, luckily so, comes mostly from television, movies, etc. So I see it as in, first of all, in the movies, for the most part, you know from the beginning whether the guy is guilty or not. So it's not like exactly a mystery, or it's not exactly a turnaround where. And then you look at his attorney, and his attorney is defending him vigorously, obviously, and it takes you to a point where you got to make as a defense attorney, if you know that your client is guilty, you would make a moral choice, perhaps, but your moral choice is not a moral choice. It's an actual professional constitutional choice.
It is a moral choice for me.
It's a moral choice from. So what if? I know you said that your clients are never guilty and all that, but what if you do know that your client is guilty? Like your client is guilty to the fucking to their bones, So what is the moral? I know your obligation, but what is your thinking when you defend someone like that?
So
if you're able to talk about it at all.
I am. As long as we don't talk about case specific things, I can talk about general stuff, right?
I don't know case specific.
Neither do I.
That's not an issue.
What's on
like,
calendar
not
today?
issue. That's what I don't know.
No, but so it is an ethical and a moral obligation to me to defend not only the individual but the principles that protect individual liberty. I may know that you're guilty of concealing a firearm in your car. I may know that you know that fucking gun is in your car. But those fucking cops, they didn't have probable cause to search your shit. And this is fucking America, dude. This is fucking America. They just can't go through your fucking shit. This ain't North Korea. They can't fucking pull you over and toss your shit. So you know what? You might be fucking guilty, but fuck them because they gotta follow the law too.
They're wrong too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's shit like that. Let's say it's something more egregious than just, felon in possession of a firearm, because I do not think that that's egregious. I think everybody has a right to keep and bear arms, but even if you are a felon. But let's...
Hey, if you can be a candidate for a president as a felon, you should be able to at least vote or carry a gun.
I agree, dude. I agree. Shall not be infringed. But let's say it's something more egregious than that. This individual has a right to due process. I am, having done this job for as long as I have, I am not afraid of a guilty man walking, or guilty woman walking, guilty person walking. I'm not afraid of that. Because what I see exponentially more is somebody who is maybe a little guilty, right? Maybe they did a shoplifting. They went in there and they took some shit. But, the fucking loss prevention officer, he knows. I've had this on cases, right? I'm not saying a specific case, but a loss prevention officer tells the cops, hey, we know that we only get reimbursed by our insurance if we say, and I got it on body worn, that if we say it was a robbery. So he took it and he threatened me when he took it. So now this misdemeanor petty theft
becomes a big,
a serious violent felony, which is a strike, which means that this guy or girl or individual, my bad guys, my bad. If they are undocumented, I talk with my hands, I'm Greek. If they are undocumented, they're fucked. If they are a kid, they're fucked. If they're trying to go to college, they're fucked. And does the punishment fit the crime? No. So it's like, it's not, I don't see it as much as black and white as like, are they guilty or not guilty? There's, ultimately that's the question for the jury. But in order to protect this person's future, this person's liberty, things that could have a irrevocable immutable effect on their future need to be addressed during that guilt finding phase.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, so like that's how I see it, dude.
I hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I'm just, to me, it's always been like because, like I said, movies and TV, every movie has, if you will, an agenda.
Yeah.
It's there to present you with something, especially documentary movies, documentary films. They're always biased. They always have an agenda, depending on who made the film, right? So if you're watching a true crime documentary, for example, especially that you know that it's crime, it's a crime that was committed, and it's and you look at and you're thinking, this is an awful thing that this person got convicted of eventually, and we're watching about it now, and we're seeing how it played out, and we're thinking, and I was always wondering, that how would their defense attorney handle it, for themselves morally, not handle it during the process, obviously.
So, I've represented people who have been accused of very, very terrible things. And I think my worldview, and I understand other people's worldview when they think that I'm crazy for saying this. I understand why they feel that way. I'm not saying that it's illogical not to have the same worldview as me, but I fundamentally empathize with people. That means the victim, I always empathize with. It's tough. Like my job, there's a lot of secondary trauma from the things that we see. But then I also empathize with my clients. And some of my clients, I used to represent people in death row here in Los Angeles, in California. And invariably, I would say people charged with the worst crimes have the worst childhoods. And the most horrible shit you can fucking imagine happened to these people. And
the people that
are now
have
on
committed
death row.
the crime.
That are now on death row, now have committed the worst of the worst crimes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That have been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and sentenced to death by a jury.
We have a death row, capital punishment.
There's
here.
a link between
It's-
that and having a fucked up childhood or really bad.
100%. We do have death penalty in California. It has gone through. We have a de jure, that means by law.
He speaks like
Not de jure,
He
like
might not speak
not
Greek,
soup,
but
not soup Malacca, not soup de jure, not soup de jure, but de jure also means
Crap, the wrong one.
the law. The law says we do have a death penalty. We have a death row. People are sentenced to death in California, not every day, but often. De facto, we do not have a death penalty because of a bunch of different things that have happened. Newsom has not signed any death warrants. I believe he has a policy that he's not going to. I don't know. Gascon, who's the DA here in LA County, has not sought the death penalty on anybody. He is filing special circumstance charges, which presumably means that he is only seeking LWOP, which is life without the opportunity for parole, the possibility of parole. So if you're convicted of a special circumstance murder in California, there's two options. And you're convicted, and that special circumstance is found to be true, there's two options. The jury can either sentence you to death, or they can sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. It's Gascon's policy not to seek death, to seek LWOP. Come November, we'll see what happens, if he's reelected or not. Even if he's not reelected, Newsom at a state level is preventing the execution of people on death row. And the Ninth Circuit, I've not really kept up on the post-conviction litigation of capital cases, but back when I was doing post-conviction stuff, the Ninth Circuit found that California's application of the death penalty was cruel and unusual punishment because it was so random.
What was it?
So it's been a long time since I've had to actually remember this. So if I'm getting this wrong, this is not legal advice. Don't quote me. But the Ninth Circuit found that California, Ninth Circuit's the federal court of appeals for the area that we live in the West Coast. So it's like Arizona, Nevada, Utah. Or sorry, not Utah. That's 10th Circuit. Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Guam, and like probably all those other weird territories out there. Found that the application of California's death penalty statute was cruel and unusual punishment because it was so arbitrary. There were people on death row for like 20 years that were not getting executed, and then there was people on death row for like a year that were getting executed. And it was kind of like the analogy that was used, I think in the opinion, I can't remember, but the analogy that was used is it's kind of a shotgun approach. Yeah. You don't know who the fuck's going to get it. A guy that's been here for 20 years or a guy that's been here for 2 years. And like, it's not going based on severity or based on time or whatever.
It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah, and then there was issues, more recently with getting access to the cocktail that was used at San Quentin. Interesting story about San Quentin. If you live in the Bay Area, it's the most gorgeous fucking real estate in California. And it's
San Quentin?
Dude, gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous. It's on the bay. Like, you can see dude, that property must be worth.
Oh, I know. I've been to San Quentin.
Yeah.
To
the prison.
the island. Yeah.
No, that's Alcatraz.
Oh, that's Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Alcatraz.
Yeah. San Quentin is in the Bay Area is fucking gorgeous. It's where the only death row in California is. But it's held in trust, not by the state of California, but by a third party. I might be getting the details of this wrong. I apologize. But if it's ever not used as a prison, it has to revert back to the family who is holding it or who bequeathed it, for lack of a better term, because I did not do well in wills and trusts, to the state of California. So the reason that California hasn't just closed down San Quentin and sold it to like Elon Musk for $10 billion is because they don't own the property.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. No, man, that's interesting. I've always wondered, with attorneys and the prosecutors and defense attorneys, what how it plays out, not in real life, not in court, but in terms of cases, how things are viewed between the two parties. Because
I have a good friend who's a DA, a really good friend of mine who's a DA, and he is one of these DAs that like you hope like moves up the ranks in his office, because we don't always agree on shit. In fact, a lot of times we disagree on what the right thing is, but he is so motivated by the right thing. And the right thing to him is not like the fucking crime and punishment and fucking lock him up. It's like, what do I do to make a shitty situation less fucking shitty? Like, how do I either A, stop this from happening again, B, stop this person from doing it again, C, make the victim feel whole, D, make sure like we got the right guy. Like, he really wrestles with all those things, and it weighs on him. It really fucking weighs on him, and
it's gotta be, it's gotta be weighing on
I
him.
do not envy that shit, because I care about one thing, my fucking client, and that's so much easier, dude. It's so much easier.
Yeah, it's that makes me understand a little better what the dynamic is, because you would think it's the other way around. It would be like, well, the DA is like,
a lot of DAs are like that. I would say he's the exception. Yeah. I would say 80-90% of DAs are not like him. 80-90% are like, what did my boss tell me to do? Okay, I'll go do that. Or like, I need to get promoted, or whatever the case might be, right?
And that's
I just need to get through the day.
That's the goal at the end of the day,
Yeah, but I hope that there's more people like him that get into positions of power, because the fucking criminal justice system's a joke. And the reason I say that is it's, I think, the best criminal justice system in the world. I'm glad that we don't have an inquisitory, like, form of criminal justice like they do in France or, like, Scandinavia, where, like, the judge is the investigator and the prosecutor, and, like, you know.
Is it true that in France you're actually guilty until you're proven innocent?
That's my understanding.
Yeah,
that's
that,
my understanding.
I read.
that? Oh,
I
really?
read that.
And
yeah.
the judge, like, it's my understanding. I don't know anything about Napoleonic law. My understanding is that you're guilty until proven innocent. I could be very wrong about that. It's also my understanding, like, the judge, since it is inquisitory, they are not a neutral magistrate. They're not like the umpire calling balls and strikes. They are the prosecutor, and they actually have, like, investigators go investigate the crime.
Really?
Yeah. So, I'm glad that we don't have that. But the problem with the adversarial, we have an adversarial system. The problem with the adversarial system is inherently that it's adversarial. I had another DA who's a good friend of mine. He was my calendar DA for a while, who I would let him talk to my clients. I would take him back in lockup and have him talk to my clients because he was a human being and he understood humanity and he understood, like, fuck-ups and, like, second chances and shit. And I wouldn't do that with any other DA because I trusted him, you know? And he helped a lot of people avoid very, very, very bad outlooks, and most of them are doing very well now. But you can't do that with the adversarial system because if you're a DA, I can't fucking trust you with my client. And if I'm a DA, like, I'm trying to get a conviction on this guy, so let me see if I can get a
you gotta know what exactly.
Like, when you watch these fucking TV shows like fucking Law and Order, my wife watches this shit, I walk by and I start screaming at the TV. Because every fucking episode, it's a DA, a cop, and the defense attorney and the defendant, or the suspect, all sitting in a room talking. And I'm like, that would never fucking happen, except with me and this one DA. Because I would be like, shut the fuck up, he's invoking. All of you guys fuck off. We'll see you in court. You know what I'm saying? There's none of this, like, let me talk to your client shit. That doesn't fucking happen unless he's about to testify against somebody.
Ratting on people. Yeah.
I gotta go eat, dude. I love you guys.
Let's call it. It's pretty late already. Thank you, Mike, for
you guys.
showing up. Thank you, Sasha, for
Being here in spirit.
filling in for Ian. And we'll see you next
Where
week.
is Ian, dude?
Ian is in. He keeps telling me, and I keep forgetting the state.
He told me too. I forgot.
Vermont?
No, not
Delaware? He's from Delaware. Yeah, he's from Delaware. Yeah.
Delaware. Anyway, guys, see you next time.
Yeah.